Despite his admiration, Su Xing did not forget the terror of the stars falling dragon sword. Purple star-grade astral treasures in the star duels always were weapons of mass destruction. Possessing a powerful purple star astral treasure, along with adequate martial force, star generals advancing the level of their star weapons could occupy a place to contend in the star duels. If they were not a complete star general with a terrifying star beast, a few star generals could not be an opponent. The 10,000 dragons of varied colors attacked like a tsunami wave after wave. He only heard dragon roars in his ears, a desperately earth-shattering power. Holy Mother Qixia's multicolored light barriers broke layer by layer, the light distorting. Even a supervoid cultivator's magic weapon barely resisted. In addition, Holy Mother Qixia's life-cast magic weapon, Qixia banners, was mighty as expected, but seeing those 7 banners revolve, they rolled a 7-colored rainbow light formed a light barrier to trap the 10,000-year Gu demon within. Holy Mother Qixia's light barrier was being slammed to the verge of collapse. Refining the 10,000-year Gu demon on one hand while also defending against the stars falling dragon sword on the other. Even if Holy Mother Qixia's grand as the starry sky's star energy would not hold out for too long. Lady Snake Scorpion used the stars falling dragon also to engage in one last battle. Each wave was 10,000 bells immortals due entering her throat. Holy Mother Qixia tested to release an artifact and several abilities, but they had only just left the protection of the multicolored light when they were torn to pieces by the myriad dragons. A spectacle too horrible to endure. Su Xing, my boy, are there any magic weapons you still have not used? Otherwise it certainly would be too late. Holy Mother Qixiao struck several hand seals, and the dazzling lights entered the Qixiao banners and protective multicolored lights. Holy Mother Qixiao's expression began to become grim. Seeing Su Xing unexpectedly still able to resist, she immediately smiled. Why would Holy Mother say this? Su Xing grave. With his flying swords broke, the profound star barrier's white light flared and fought the dragons, but the profound star barrier's cracks were increasingly many. It looked as if it would not hold out for too long. To be able to be this self-confident, has this seat seen wrongly? Holy Mother Qixia said. Su Xing was silent. A ripping sound entered their ears. Tears already appeared in those Qixia banners. Holy Mother Qixia's expression changed, and her tone was no longer that unperturbed as before. How about this then? Su Xing, my boy, so long as you help this seat refine this 10,000-year Gu demon, seeing as my boy and little sister are so affectionate, how about taking that light-shifting image-switching mirror as a gift this seat sends to little sister and her husband? Seeing that Lady Snake Scorpion continuously urged the stars falling dragon sword's power, Holy Mother Qixia no longer hesitated. Although the shifting light image-switching mirror was a heavenly spirit-grade astral treasure, it was not too useful to her. This thing was obtained from a purple star-grade chest. It was originally an object that connected Star Master and Star General, and Holy Mother Qixiao holding on to it was unnecessary. Now, she completely did not hesitate to use it for a business transaction. Compared to obtaining the 10,000-year Gu demon, what did this shifting light image-switching mirror count as? Su Xing rolled his eyes. He indeed was endlessly tempted by the shifting light image-switching mirror, but he also very much did not want to turn the 10,000-year Gu demon to Holy Mother Qixiao. He could not feel at ease if this terrifying Gu demon were to be turned over to anyone. Your servant fears that he is powerless to refine this Gu demon, but your servant is somewhat sure he can temporarily suppress the falling dragon sword. Su Xing's implication was that he would not help her obtain the 10,000-year Gu, that he could only inhibit the falling dragon sword. The rest was up to her luck. Good. Holy Mother Qixiao said without the slightest hesitation. Seeing this, Su Xing reacted instantly and flipped his wrist. A green jade-like branch appeared in his hand, and Holy Mother Qixiao's eyes immediately glinted when she saw it, showing a trace of excitement. However, that immediately was eliminated. Su Xing sneered to himself and instantly swished the miraculous Bodhi tree in succession. A large expanse of the divine light of clear drizzle and propitious vapors was like a surging magic cloud, blowing over the Gu Valley. The sword of falling dragon wreaking havoc was swept away by the clear light as if it had been trapped by the propitious cloud, suppressing the dragon's devastation. But the miraculous Bodhi tree's divine light not only pushed down the falling dragon sword. Su Xing also meticulously did not pull back the miraculous Bodhi tree's divine light, swiping away those Qixia banners as well. Originally, how could that tottering Qixia banner hold back the miraculous Bodhi tree's swiping? The 7 colored banners released a vibrating cry, and the rainbow light immediately broke. Holy Mother Qixia's expression slightly changed. Apologies, Holy Mother, that this miraculous Bodhi tree breaks 10,000 techniques cannot be helped by your servant, Su Xing candidly said. Holy Mother Qixia grunted, not saying anything. She seized on the chance that the falling dragon sword was being suppressed. The Holy Mother pointed at the same time. And at this moment, the listless 10,000-year Gu demon shouted and screamed. Su Xing's figure moved and rushed to attack the 10,000-year Gu demon. The 10,000-year Gu demon opened its large mouth, firing countless poison needles. An arm that was like a centipede rolled towards Su Xing. Su Xing swiped the miraculous Bodhi tree. The blue light rays were clear, easily brushing forwards. This miraculous Bodhi tree deserved to be called a cheat hack, for swiping it was too wonderful for words. A light swish could break 10,000 techniques. In the previous phase, Su Xing practically succeeded in every endeavor, but the miraculous Bodhi tree required too enormous a star energy. Swiping to now, Su Xing's more than 100,000 bells immortals due was nearly depleted. The divine light restricted the 10,000-year Gu demon, and the 1,000-year contract's intertwined branch sword held in Su Xing's hand stabbed forth. Although the 10,000-year Gu demon was of copper hide and iron bone, it certainly had a weak spot. Su Xing aimed at that ugly mouth of the 10,000-year Gu denib and stabbed. Su Xing was just like he wanted to pierce through the 10,000-year Gu demon, forcefully stabbing. The expressions of Holy Mother Qixia and the Lady Snake Scorpion changed. Fortunately, green light only flashed on the 10,000-year Gu demon's body. The scorpion tail on the 10,000-year Gu demon's rear swiftly stuck over and forced Su Xing to dodge. This sword stab did not yield any results either. When Holy Mother Qixia saw, her sleeve fanned, and a shuttle-shaped multicolored light hastily flew over from the horizon. In the blink of an eye, it arrived over the 10,000-year Gu demon's head. The shuttle-shaped multicolored light split against the wind, becoming a light net covering the skies and the earth that covered the Gu demon from above. The Gu demon bored into the earth, its 4 claws shoveling dirt, and it instantly entered the underground. Holy Mother Qixia's cloud-catching bag, too, fell onto empty space. Inferior animal, you dare run. Holy Mother Qixia's face turned cold. Her legs stamped, and the earth jolted as an incorporeal spiritual pressure directly poured in. It shook the 10,000-year Gu demon out. This Gu demon was a monkey, yet it had some intelligence. Being refined by the Qixia banners, it already lost its previous close-quarters fighting drive. Whatever desire to kill it had was gone. It spread its wings and flew towards the airspace over Gu Valley, unexpectedly preparing to flee. Thinking of running? Holy Mother Qixia flew over. Lady Snake Scorpion saw this, once again brandished the falling dragon sword. Seeing her face was pale, she was too weak to support it. Evidently, she was an arrow at the end of its path using the star-falling dragon sword. The purple star-grade astral treasure was like this. It was not something to be used arbitrarily, just by continuously replenishing star energy. It far exceeded the realms of cultivators, and frequently using it would greatly harm vitality. Su Xing at this time also hastily pursued. The profound star barrier's light erupted, and the barrier instantly shattered. Wusong, accept death. At this moment, the outside of the Jade Alum Palace was a mess. The Supervoid Cultivators' war had destroyed Gecko Cliff, and the Supercluster ancestors acting to search for the Gu Palace also was to wantonly destroy things. The entire huge Jade Alum Palace and the 5 poison halls collapsed in a landslide, loudly toppling over. It was just that Lady Snake Scorpion had already foreseen this. The Gu Valley had been sealed in an underground palace, so even if things were shaken flat, the entirety of the Jade Alum Palace could not possibly be discovered. Wuxia straddled the white and black unicorn tiger, rushing over there and unfortunately ran into Invulus of the East. The war between Invulus of the East and Zhongqi ended when the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators' simultaneous attack made Zhongqi defeated. Furthermore, Five Poisons Mountain nevertheless was leveled by the Azure Dragon Territory's cultivators. How could the 5 great demi-kings and the multitude of demi-soldiers resist such ruin? It was the total defeat of their army. Currently, when Invulus of the East wantonly searched for the 10,000-year Gu, and could not find the way forward was wholeheartedly furious, he unexpectedly saw Wuxia approaching from the horizon. When he saw the white and black unicorn tiger, Invulus of the East was suddenly indignant. Wu Song killing Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity certainly was the hatred of a generation, particularly when that prehistoric spirit treasure Miraculous Bodhi Tree had also been stolen. This spirit treasure originally was given to Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity for use to guard the sect. Even if the Supervoid founders in seclusion were absent, Invulus of the East on the one hand wanted to take back the Miraculous Bodhi Tree, while on the other really did not expect to take Wu Song's white and black unicorn tiger. The foes saw each other, each covetous. Invulus of the East's heaven and earth spiritual power squeezed. The white and black unicorn tiger's white light erupted, for the 7th rank spirit beast was far from surrendering from just the spiritual power of a supervoid. Seeing this, Invulus of the East's hands flew through hand seals. Suddenly, more than 100 flying swords simultaneously flew towards the sky. Instantly, 2 clumps of dazzling blue light burst in the sky, forming 2 several zhonglong immense azure swords. Their cold light was thick, and then they eerily flashed in his eyes. Silently opening his mouth, 2 clumps of green chi slipped out, each spraying onto one of the giant swords. Upon touching the green chi, the giant swords in the sky brilliantly glowed. Rapidly falling following a light cry, they aggressively slashed towards the white and black unicorn tiger and Wuxia in the white light. Bang bang. 2 enormous noises sounded. The immense swords fiercely struck onto the white light. Green rays and white light interweaved, but the 2 swords barely pressed several inches into the white light, bouncing bluntly back. Seeing this scene, Invulus of the East was stunned. Wuxia's eyes showed a slight mocking expression. The white and black unicorn tiger's mouth roared, and it spat out a beam of resplendent light. This beam directly pressed onto the primordial boundless swords. Wuxia's figure also flickered, directly leaving the white and black unicorn tiger. She soared into the air, the noble frost demonic lotus like ink and snow, its sword light radiantly reflecting. When Invulus of the East saw this, his expression sunk. His hands quickly flew through seals, rushing lightly for the group of swords. Suddenly, green clouds flashed by, and each flying sword ejected 3 identical sword lights. Originally, there were 100 green rays, and now, they became thousands upon thousands of sword lights. The flock of swords had doubled their power in an instant. Afterwards, Invulus of the East then flung his green robes, and his mouth densely spat the word, "Go." The moment this sound was uttered, every sword light obediently split to the extremes of left and right, becoming 2 lines splitting the original things into 2 sides. The 2 eaves of flying swords instantly bound with the sword lights into one. The green light shuddered, and the swords transformed into a mysterious sword array, separately breaking for the sky. Wuxia and the white and black unicorn tiger rushed ahead at the same time, apparently unconcerned. The offensive of the Harm Star Pilgrim and the white and black unicorn tiger madly swelled, breaking Invulus of the East's flying swords. Using flying swords to go obstruct a star general of superb martial force. Especially the Wu Song who possessed the white and black unicorn tiger spirit beast. The Invulus of the East who had just consumed his vigor in a war with Zhongqi just now had no solution. Only when Invulus of the East's spiritual power wildly pressured them did he finally stop Wu Song's counterattack. He was angry. "Wu Song, this senior must kill you today. See if you have any ability to go stop this senior's dual-mode profound dust sword array." 3 forming a hand seal, the scattered 1,000 sword lights all of a sudden combined and wrapped Wuxia tightly. All sides were a boundless green light, limitless. The weather turned gloomy, seemingly pressing over. Even Wuxia felt she had been trapped, and her heart shuddered. The 1,000 golden lights in the sky turned. Suddenly they rolled out a cool breeze, and a green light and mysterious wind bubbled forth at the same time. In the middle of the array, Wuxia already could not see her hands in front of her. The light obscured everything in a range of 3 zhang, and the middle of the array was ferocious. The sword's cold, twisting wind whistled, and even a star general as valiant as Wuxia had been attacked by the wind. Her whole body was cold, and muttering to herself this was not good. She circulated her star energy to protect her body. The heaven and earth profound dust array's middle vaguely rumbled with the sounds of thunder. Envious of the east was just like he was already outside of the sword array, not a trace to be seen. Wuxia's thin eyes watched, suddenly spotting a green chi rising in the center of the array. The jade light twinkled, as if there was a dark cloud rolling around in the center. Soon after, the faintly shaking jade wave surged for the heavens. The sword light apparently was finished charging and was idle, the tip hidden, the fiercest danger in the middle. Wuxia drew in breath. Wuxia watched for several breaths. Suddenly, she slashed empty space with the noble frost demonic lotus in her hand, at the same time stamping with her leg, shouting, "Tai!" Ink and snow sword light slashed 1,000 pieces. Heaven fell and earth rend, walla walla. This green light was boundless and gloomy between heaven and earth. Suddenly, countless cracks appeared, and then it was just like a smashed mirror, falling down piece by piece, shattering. But in the blink of an eye, green light again revolved. The sword light wrapped around the green light and bubbled from all sides, just like a tide. When Xianzhenzi, Queen Lady of Ice, and the other remaining ancestors saw this, they were fully aware of the power of the dual mode's profound dust sword array. All of them promptly retreating 3 chi, glancing at each other. For envious of the East to unexpectedly use such a killing array now, it seems he is staking everything on this. Xianzhenzi's tone slightly sighed, but it was unknown whether it was a lament or a sob. The dual mode's profound dust sword array was but envious of the East's top power, somewhat more powerful than any flying sword, magic weapon, spirit treasure or astral treasure. When this sword array appeared, nearly no one could escape. Even supercluster late-stage level ancestors like Xianzhenzi were intimidated at first glance. It seemed that envious of the East did not dare be careless, already using his full power from just a few face-to-face meetings. They knew his intent to kill was absolute. Will his handling a star general like this provoke the Liangshan Maiden? Queen Lady of Ice wrinkled her brow. Liangshan Maiden, humph. When the other ancestors heard this name, each of their expressions were difficult. Perhaps to the majority of scattered star cultivators or lower-level cultivators, the Liangshan Maiden was probably even more like a spectator, an indifferent one. But if one were to have awesome military glory, they would lack fear and take her to be a joke. However, with regards to the 10 great sex peak ancestors, joke, that simply was a legend. Their cultivations were profound, so naturally they were clear about the Liangshan Maiden's might. In the previous generations of star duels, there was no lack of great cultivators that ignored Maiden Mountain and wished to challenge its dignity, but their names were never remembered by people because they perished and were scattered like ash and smoke. It appears that envious of the East wants to kill Wu Song to promote his reputation in Liangshan. That star beast truly makes people envious. The Red Lotus Fairy sneered. Legend said that Maiden Mountain, for the sake of preserving fairness in the star duels and to avoid other cultivators spying, would send down a star guard. And documents did not lack this sort of record either. Although it was unknown whether it was a falsehood or an exaggeration of the star duels, while maintaining a prudent thinking of believing it to be true rather than not, the ancestors would not place themselves at risk. However, the star duels had another rule. Star generals also could not infringe on the interests of other people, otherwise retaliatory killing was considered fair. Wu Song apparently killed Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity, an ancestral master of the most high path. According to common sense, envious of the East carrying out a vendetta was within reason. It was just that they just did not know whether Wu Song had committed an offense, or if the latter was courting death. Seeing the heaven and earth profound dust sword array trap Wu Song, their hearts knew that the harm star would die without doubt. At this time, they suddenly heard a hissing howl, like the moans of ghosts and the wails of spirits. The sound was sharp and ear-piercing, like a demonic noise. All of the ancestors turned their heads to look, and they saw an unremarkable mountain range suddenly explode. A black light soared into the sky, dazzling the eyes of all the ancestors. When they saw this creature, their hearts were astounded. That monster truly was bizarre to the limit. 2 monkey heads, with a horn and fangs, eyes that released a bloody color, for arms extending past the knees, for like needles, with the 100 feet of a centipede winding across its body, a scorpion tail at its rear, and a snake tongue flicking in and out. Its back had bat wings, its whole body enveloped in poison light and toxic gas from head to foot, with poison fog and miasma swirling around. It practically was a 10,000 poison, 10,000-year goo demon. Xianzhenzi all of a sudden shouted. Several more figures and multicolored light flew out from beneath the 10,000-year goo demon. When the ancestors saw this 10,000-year goo demon, it appeared to be unable to withstand another blow. At such a 10,000-year goo demon that could at any time be inserted with essence blood and controlled, they completely lacked hesitation and rushed over towards the goo demon overjoyed. Every sort of ability, seal, and magic weapon simultaneously flew out. They wanted to capture this 10,000-year goo demon in the first moments. And even the most cold as ice queen Lady of Ice was incapable of restraining herself, fully using her dark ice. The injured and recuperating Zhongqi at this time saw the 10,000-year goo demon also with a glint in his eye, and he joined the camp that fought over it. This unbearably ugly, sinister as a demon, completely covered in vile air 10,000-year goo demon, was just like it had become an appetizer everyone fought over, a scene extremely spectacular. When Envious of the East saw the 10,000-year goo demon, he also was wild with joy, but he was bitterly using the dual mode's profound dust sword array to trap Wuxia, and was incapable of moving. He could only watch helplessly as they fought wildly, his heart anxious. Continuously urging the sword array with hand seals, he shouted, "Pilgrim Wusong, you had better quickly return to Maiden Mountain." Yet the Wuxia in the middle of the heaven and earth profound dust sword array only felt an extremely large pressure pushing in her face, making her feel stifled. Her breathing was not smooth, and her heart only felt incomparably oppressed, putong as it hopped. The sword light in the middle of the array was like a golden snake wildly dancing. The green light roared, heaven and earth rippled, and a thunderclap roused. As a supervoid level cultivator, Envious of the East sword array was the so-called tyrannical. The boundless gives birth to the supreme ultimate. The supreme ultimate becomes the dual modes. Envious of the East dual modes profound dust sword array was abstruse, the sword light sweeping from the 4 cardinal directions like a cool breeze. They shot directly to the Wuxia at the array's center, leaving her without a place to run. Wuxia was a peak star general, and knowing how formidable this was, she suddenly shouted and resisted brilliantly with the white and black unicorn tiger, starlight shining. In front of them, every sort of brilliance undulated back and forth. First, they blocked the sword lights coming from the 4 directions, but Envious of the East sword array was like a tide, each wave fiercer than the last. After several sword tides, those joined together, and the sword light directly smashed apart their star energy defenses. Immediately, the sword light eliminated the 4 seasons. Envious of the East once again urged the sword chant, and linked it with a wave of the sword array. Then he launched a wave-like sword light that grew from small to large. The next wave of sword light already shot to Wuxia's side. Envious of the East's dual mode's profound dust sword array was known as the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 flying sword killing array. Once entered, no one could escape. To be trapped in the sword array's center, it was expected that escape required exceptional powers, and that still was not easy. Furthermore, when Envious of the East urged the sword array, his supervoid level star energy indeed was endlessly might, shaking heaven and earth. It was a pity that his battle with Zhongqi was tremendous, for his energy was greatly consumed. Otherwise, if Envious of the East was at peak cultivation, the moment the sword array emerged, it was practically comparable to the purple star-grade astral treasure, 1,000 stars good fortune sword. 2. The white and black unicorn tiger loudly roared. Its body trembled, and its white fur launched bursts of white light. This light was sharp as a blade, colliding with the sword light rolling over. There was a rumble, and the profound dust sword light and white light simultaneously were exploded into fine dust. But the dual mode's profound dust sword array's next wave of sword light was but an instant. Soon after, the 7th wave and the 8th wave of sword light came one after the other. Wuxia and the white and black unicorn tiger were already forced to mental and physical exhaustion, arrows at the end of their path. Envious of the East knew of Wu Song's might. Mighty was the Harm Star's fame for fighting prowess, and he wanted to get this done quickly. He was deliberately placing Wuxia into her final resting place. Launching the sword chant in succession, the tidal sword light was endless, increasingly fierce. How could the white and black unicorn tiger still be able to resist the sword light? When several waves of sword light passed, it was immediately bruised over its whole body, howling in anguish. It was directly stored into the star world by Wuxia. Losing the 7th rank spirit beast's divine light that she relied on, Wuxia's figure immediately seemed lonely, one that had difficulty supporting itself. Wu Song, just allow Envious to send you back to Maiden Mountain, to free you of these star duels. Envious of the East shouted. Hua, hua, the sword light swept over. Wuxia barely blocked. She did everything she could to move forward, but the green light all around was boundless. She could not find a way out, nor could she discern a direction. The sword light again rolled, and Wuxia did not have even the strength to grasp the noble frost demonic lotus. If she did not rely on the 3-star destined weapon in addition to plain star energy and the support of a star beast, any other weaker star general would already be ash. The next wave of sword light whooshed over, and Wuxia was certain to be finished. Just at this moment, suddenly, the boundless sword light in one direction abruptly was washed open by divine light. That point of divine light grew from small to large, instantly breaking open a hole. Seeing an auspicious cloud roll, auspicious light twinkle, Wuxia showed surprise. Suddenly, a hand pierced through the green vastness and extended, the palm open. Wuxia did not hesitate at all, grabbing onto that hand with her own. Boom! The powerful force seemingly was overwhelming, also seemingly dispelling clouds to reveal the sun. Wuxia suddenly saw clear sky and white mist. Astonishingly, she had been pulled out of the dual mode's profound dust sword array. Wuxia looked and saw a warm smile. Never before had this happened. Wuxia felt this man smiling like this made her feel relieved. Who was he? Sushing, the miraculous Bodhi tree. Envious of the East saw that treasure tree's jade light lingered. It broke the sword array, and his expression was unsightly to the extreme. Without any hesitation at all, his flying sword slashed. Sushing was naturally aware of a supervoid cultivator's might, and he swished the miraculous Bodhi tree. Divine light attacked, and the flying swords were restricted. You truly have done more than what is required, not fighting over that 10,000-year Gu demon, and instead saving your servant. Wuxia looked at Sushing, her tone slightly loud. She could also tell the 10,000-year Gu demon turned from a Gu into a demon. Already it could be captured at any moment, and with Sushing's capabilities, he would be enough to snatch away this 10,000-year Gu demon first. Then their trip to this 5 Poisons Mountain would not have been in vain, but Sushing gave up the readily available 10,000-year Gu demon to confront a supervoid cultivator with her. This honestly made Wuxia feel within reason, outside of expectations. Xio, you are my wifey. When wifey is in trouble, how can I watch with folded arms? Sushing made a hooked smile, as it should have been by rights. A clever mouth and a honeyed tongue. Wuxia snorted. Although she feigned indifference, her eyes showed she was actually somewhat fond of it. You adulterous couple even dare to be so intimate before this senior? How can this senior ever keep down this resentment, if he does not kill you today? Seeing the opponents unexpectedly use Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity's prehistoric spirit treasure to confront him, he truly was close to blowing his top. Heh, do you truly still want to kill? Your servant fears you will be unable to cope with us in a short while. If you do not go, the other certainly will take the 10,000-year Gu demon. You plotted so actively, and you would give such benefit to someone else. Would you be so resigned? Sushing was calm. Swishing the miraculous Bodhi tree, he confined Envious of the East's flying swords. Envious of the East was infinitely torn. somewhat worried of his gains and losses. Immediately his eyes were cold. "Today, I shall let you die in the name of love, you cheating couple. Your servant is here. How could she allow you to humiliate Lord Husband?" Wuxia coldly shouted like exploding thunder. Immediately, she alarmed Five Poisons Mountain into staring in astonishment. The Harmstar pilgrims' Lord Husband Wuxia's words shocked the plains. The remaining cultivators of Five Poison Mountain were all top-notch, and hearing Wuxia's words, their hearts rolled in heaven's startling waves. Just what was happening to these ninth-generation star duels? It was enough that the Lin Chong that never signed contracts had signed a contract with the Purple Thunder monster of unimaginable powers. Now that even the second 1,000 years without a contract Wu Song would recognize a Lord Husband was honestly inconceivable. Just what virtue and capability does that man have, unexpectedly able to make Wu Song fall in love and marry him? Ancestor Longevity said on one hand while gesturing incessantly with the other. He glanced at Envious of the east side, and seeing Su Xing's cultivation was only galaxy early stage, he did not seem to be of the unparalleled genius type. The miraculous Bodhi tree? Could it be he and Wu Song joined together to kill Extreme Clarity? Xian Junzi muttered to himself. He probably is Wu Song's star master. The Red Lotus Fairy chuckled. This man actually is somewhat manly, unexpectedly daring to contend against Envious of the East. He thinks that he can contend when Lin Chong has him, the Purple Thunder monster? Even if he truly was the Purple Thunder monster, he would undoubtedly die. Queen Lady of Ice did not say anything, but her expression already agreed with the fairy's words. Although everyone saw Su Xing's body wore a purple domain robe, was wound around with auspicious purple clouds, and had purple light fluttering, he was actually somewhat similar to the imposing manner of the legendary Purple Thunder monster. However, the legendary Purple Thunder monster did not have purple clothes, so they took him to be a copycat. Add on the fact they did not see the Purple Thunder monster's brilliant and famous star general, the majestic star panther head Lin Chong, they naturally felt he was someone else. This ninth generation truly is interesting. Lin Chong has signed a contract, and Wu Song is unwilling to remain lonely. Haha. Ancestor Longevity laughed aloud. The 10,000-year Gu loudly bellowed, shaking out a multitude of poison gas. The ancestors no longer paid attention to Envious of the East and Wuxia. Although their hearts coveted the miraculous Bodhi tree, they knew that with Envious of the East present, it was not something they could obtain. Their hearts hoped even more that Wu Song and her Lord Husband could resist and stall Envious of the East a little longer. Not only them, but Lady Snake Scorpion felt even more startled. However, Lady Snake Scorpion's degree of shock was even more extreme than the others. Others only took Su Xing to be Wu Song's star master, but she had seen the skillful star as well as another flit by. Seemingly a star general that was a little. Lady Snake Scorpion then knew that his man's star nest had 2 star generals. Lady Snake Scorpion had a premonition that the man in front of her would someday be a powerful enemy in the star duels. She had a secret intent to kill him. But now that the 10,000-year Gu demon in front of her, she could only restrain that desire to kill. Killing that man in the future would not be easy at all. In the contest over the 10,000-year Gu demon, Lady Snake Scorpion's cultivation was the lowest. However, she was the Rock Demon King's wife. She had a lot of odd protective treasures as well as many high-grade and supreme-grade talismans. The scene of the squabble over the 10,000-year Gu demon was extremely good to watch. Perhaps such a wonderful scene was difficult to come by in 1,000 years of Liangshan. The Golden Crow's divine flame of Zhongqi became a golden net that incessantly wrapped the 10,000-year Gu demon, but a 7-colored light was unhurriedly released and condensed into a colorful lotus. Its rainbow light was 100 zhang, blocking the Golden Crow's divine flame net. Qi Xiao's light covered it from the top and restricted it as they struggled against each other. Another completely pitch-black sword with unsharpened edges struck towards the 10,000-year Gu demon. Subsequently, it was covered by a clear and lingering halo but did not give in the slightest. The halo's clear light did not yield either, transforming into a light that rolled forth. The Red Lotus Karma fire poured down torrents of fiery on the spot, but it was trapped by ice-cold smoke. After this, a multitude of golden scorpion fine rain needles, and the lady snake scorpion's high-grade talismans also were unwilling to be left out. They saw every kind of the 5 poisons that was on the 5 poisons mountain with non-dispersing black smoke. All kinds of divine lights emerged in succession, destroyed like waves of rainbows on the horizon. Every sort of magic weapon and power came and went, was pushed and repelled, recalled on contact. Immediately they twisted again, coming and going, growing without end, fighting busily. The 5 poisons mountains rainbow illuminated in all 4 directions, disturbing a range of 10,000 li. Each cultivator was unwilling to give up. They wanted to take up the best position for the 10,000-year Gu demon. And with the 10,000-year Gu demon being trapped in the middle, unable to break free, everywhere was entirely filled with every sort of magic weapon and divine light. The 10,000-year Gu demon wanted to break through, but it often encountered a rainbow light and was repelled. The fangs of the 2 monkey heads extended and retracted, its poison light flourishing, with no choice but to cry where it was in tears. Xianjinzi, what does your true immortal's hall want a fearful creature like this 10,000-year Gu demon for? Ancestor Longevity shouted. Quickly recall your immortal moving hoop. Otherwise, do not blame this ancestor for becoming hostile. The 10,000-year Gu demon has 10,000 poisons. Even if this fearful creature is not raised, if it is refined into a magic weapon puppet or magic potion, that is still an exceptional thing. Ancestor Longevity, what grand dreams are you having? You had best recall your soul-scattering sword. 2. The 2 ancestors promptly greatly aroused their star energies, acting all out. It would be better for everyone to divide the 10,000-year Gu demon. Seeing that it has 2 heads and 4 arms, there is enough for us to share. The Red Lotus Fairy smiled. What do you say, Queen Lady of Ice? The Queen Lady of Ice fighting with her did not utter a word. Some supercluster ancestors having designs on the 10,000-year Gu demon. Truly you are very brazen. Holy Mother Chi Xia coldly laughed. She could only stake all of her magic energy to go battle, to be able to obtain what she wanted. Would it not be better to yield to your servant? Suddenly, a soft and melodious voice entered everyone's ears. Afterwards, they saw a dragon's shadow unleashed. This dragon was like a strange beast, pitch black like ink. It suddenly opened its mouth wide, that maw big enough seemingly to swallow the 5 poisons mountain whole. Everyone turned dumbstruck. The horizon had a woman, stepping over on clouds. The 5 poisons mountains battle over the 10,000-year Gu demon was so fierce, Su Xing had expanded his horizons. Only it was a pity he could not personally go in and participate. Otherwise, with the miraculous Bodhi tree in hand, he definitely could add himself. Ah, wifey, you're so aggressive. Su Xing was unable to conceal his happiness, seeing Wu Xiao's declaration. Your servant naturally does not wish to owe you a favor. Wu Xiao said in a low voice. She raised the noble frost demonic lotus and skyrocketed, sword light sweeping away everywhere, black demonic lotuses scattering. Good. This senior did not expect this generation's Wu Song to unexpectedly be a galaxy early-stage cultivator's wife. Truly this is too good. Envious of the East laughed. His eyes mocked them, and his flying sword unambiguously transformed into 1,000 sword lights. The miraculous Bodhi tree's green light swept, breaking them layer by layer. The dual-mode profound dust sword array could only activate once within a certain time period, and Envious of the East was powerless to continue it. Seeing this, his heart truly wished to skin Su Xing alive. Seeing Su Xing at this time swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree as well as Wu Xiao seize the chance to advance, Envious of the East's spiritual pressure pressed back, and he leaked a bit of cold sweat. Today, this senior shall help you become a happily married couple that died in the name of love. Envious of the East saw the 10,000-year Gu demon was in imminent danger, and although he saw Wu Xiao needed support against his sword array, he was also nearly exhausted. Gritting his teeth, he then flipped his hand, and a completely jade seal 3 appeared in his hand. This jade seal had carved onto it reliefs of the 4 types of spirit beasts, the azure dragon, the white tiger, the vermilion bird, and the black turtle. They were vivid and lifelike, ready to appear at a call. The four spirit beasts were adjacent to one another, each watching one of the four cardinal directions of north, east, south and west. Blue light, red light, white light and black light alternated emerged from time. Honestly breathtaking beyond compare, the peak of perfection. Su Xing's heart sunk. He felt that the spiritual energy of that jade seal with the four symbols was threatening. Unexpectedly, it was abundant, flooding a range of 100 meters with its ancient presence. Su Xing knew this was another prehistoric spirit treasure. To die under this senior's four symbols seal, you ought to die happy. Envious of the East coldly laughed and threw the jade seal. That jade seal's four-colored light suddenly burst, and the four spirit beasts on the jade seal twinkled with four types of radiance. A white light flashed, and then it concentrated and dispersed. A white tiger appeared, followed by a red light similar to flames that transformed into a vermilion bird. Then an azure, 100 chi-long cloud-turning dragon and serpentine, and turtle-like black tortoise emerged. Astonishingly, these were great and renowned astral four symbols holy beasts. These four spirit beasts of course were not holy beasts in of themselves. They merely had a trace of true spirit, but the aura they emitted still made Su Xing's body incapable of budging, as if his arms and legs had been trapped. Indeed, they were astonishing. No wonder the most high path was the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 sect. Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity already had a prehistoric spirit treasure, the miraculous Bodhi tree, that could break everything endlessly. But this four symbols seal, of Envious of the East was only stronger than the miraculous Bodhi tree, not weaker. These holy beasts in appearance only dare to bear their fangs and claws a bluff. Wuxia's voice resounded, jolting Su Xing back to his senses. Su Xing was inwardly ashamed of his inferiority, however, this was not something he could help. Su Xing was merely galaxy early stage. How could he possibly bear the prehistoric spirit treasures supervoid cultivators like this at the current stage? From another perspective, to bear hardship with equanimity under such a spirit treasure, star generals were existences that star cultivators would catch up to even with encouragement. Seeing Su Xing back to his senses, Wuxia surreptitiously nodded. Lord husband, leave these holy beasts to your servant. Humph. Arrogant. Envious of the East formed four hand seals. The imposing restless azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird and black turtle immediately surged forth directly towards them. The azure dragon sprayed out 10,000 zhang of green light. The white tiger's claws sharp as swords stabbed at their hearts. The vermilion bird fanned sky-boiling flames, and the black tortoise violently charged. Su Xing swung the tree 3 times in order to barely break the green light and heavenly fire of the azure dragon and vermilion bird, but the white tiger and black tortoise completely ignored the divine light. The white tiger opened its mouth, biting, and the black tortoise charged at Wuxia. The white tiger's chi swallowed the mountains and rivers. Wuxia barely could withstand it, but the black tortoise fiercely attacked from another side. Wuxia already was spent. Being knocked into by the black tortoise's attack, she actually was forced back several dozen meters. Then, the black tortoise spat out a light to cover Wuxia. Wuxia used the noble frost demonic lotus to block, and was forced back again. The four great holy beasts continuously attacked viciously, and the miraculous Bodhi tree was nearly exhausted. Master, allow slave servant to fight. Yan Yizhen worried inside the star nest. If it was not for Su Xing's order, she already would have rushed out of the star nest. Little E, recuperate first. Su Xing refused, knowing that Little E had spent much strength confronting the lady snake scorpion. Even if these four great holy beasts had only a wisp of true energy, there was no way to resist. Furthermore, he had another plan to let Yan Yizhen act as a surprise attacker to kill Envious of the East when he was unprepared. Star generals often had an extreme superiority in this aspect. Envious of the East sneered. He did not believe that Su Xing could contend against the four symbols seal. Even if he could swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree, in the end, there was a limit. Seeing Wuxia bitterly resist, Su Xing suddenly recalled something. His hand then patted his astral bag, and a talisman hopped out. This talisman, its script flying and black chi overflowing, seemed extremely demonic. Spotting that talisman, Envious of the East showed a surprised expression. God Transformation Talisman. Su Xing stuck the talisman to his stomach. The overflowing black qi flashed, and the talisman shattered and dissolved into Su Xing's body. Then his whole body flashed a black light, and he suddenly breathed out black qi. An ominous shadow of a death god enveloped his body. Su Xing felt a burst of painful burning behind him, as if his tunic was about to shatter. Su Xing had forgotten to store the purple domain robe, and revealed an extremely crimson upper body. Immediately afterwards, he saw the flesh of his upper body was completely blood red. Strange markings appeared, continuously spreading, filling out his body, black patterns and a layer of black light protecting his body. At this time, Su Xing gave people a sort of incomparably sinister, imposing feeling. His 10 fingers were sharp, transformed into sharpened fingernails. Su Xing only felt a type of vigorous power about to break out of his body. Acute pain. So powerful. The God Transformation Talisman was one of Liangshan continent's strange talismans, known as the Supreme Grade Talisman, most close to Super Talisman. To make one, it reportedly needed an 8th or 9th ranked demon beast soul to pass through many layers of refinement, layered onto the caster's body. Thus, it allowed the caster's martial force to greatly increase, his cultivation to tremendously rise. Besides the God Transformation Talisman, there was also the Spirit Transformation Talisman, that allowed star energy to greatly increase. Su Xing's eyes revealed an ominous glint. His imposing air was just as if the Supervoid cultivator was incapable of suppressing it. Envious of the East was well aware of the God Transformation Talisman's might. This type of supreme-grade talisman could make a cultivator transform into a killer monster. Normal magic weapons could be easily torn to shreds. In the previous star duels, as a matter of fact, there was a star general very weak in martial force that relied on the God Transformation Talisman, thus getting rid of several star generals strong in martial force. It was not known how she managed to get her hands on this type of talisman. It was too late for more thought. Envious of the East promptly struck several hand seals to urge the 4 holy beasts of the 4 symbols seal to launch an attack. The magnificent light of the 4 symbols seal swelled, close to blinding. Su Xing and Wuxia advanced with tacit understanding. One clenched his claws and the other grasped her sword as they charged into the middle of the 4 holy beasts. Gong Sun Huang also was unwilling to sit idle. She emerged from the star nest, fully using her star magic to contend against the Azure Dragon. The Azure Dragon wildly danced, spitting out a stream of green light swift as water. This light fell like a heavy weight that pinned Su Xing. Su Xing furiously roared, and grabbing with his arms that brimmed with power, the green light shattered. When the Azure Dragon wanted to spit a second curtain of light, the clear sky became dragons that spun to attack. Hundreds of them wound around the Azure Dragon, fighting it. The Azure Dragon in the clouds rolled, its green light dazzling, the rays splattering everywhere. However, Gong Sun Huang's star magic was also formidable. The little lowly swallowed a Starbreaker golden pill, staking all of her strength, continuously using her star magic at full power. Pine Brand Ancient Sword? Envious of the East opened his eyes wide when he saw that double-edged sword of multicolored light. He was practically incapable of believing she was the leisure star dragon in the clouds Gong Sun Sheng, but they already did not give him too much time to be surprised. Su Xing and Wuxia handling the holy beasts gave rise to danger for him. The vermilion bird's body beautiful as flames seemingly burned and raged in the sky. With a bird cry, a scarlet ray of light shot straight out, cutting apart space. Su Xing certainly did not want to experience the terror of this light. Leaping several steps, jumping high, the shadows of his fists flew over, covering the heavens and earth. The vermilion bird's crimson fire bubbled forth, awe-inspiring as it covered. Su Xing's whole body suddenly was enveloped in flame. But a moment later, a powerful black qi sprayed out and extinguished this heavenly fire just like water. The Su Xing under the God Transformation Talisman was like he had become a fiend star. His close combat imposing air was out of the ordinary, each punch and kick leaving no leeway at all, which made the vermilion bird feel stifled. Stifling like fire. The holy beast vermilion bird passively took the beating, crying incessantly. It only had a trace of weak true spirit, roughly supervoid level. Otherwise, if it was a genuine holy beast, it would have long already dispatched Su Xing. However, even if it only had a wisp of true spirit, it was still supervoid level. For lack of a better choice, the god transformation talisman ignored realms, transforming a cultivator into an existence like the star generals. Seeing the vermilion bird sustain injury, Envious of the East struck hand seals, and the white tiger smacked a paw towards Su Xing. Su Xing's body was like iron, resolutely enduring. Then he shook the white tiger back with a punch. The vermilion bird instantly disappeared, for it was frighteningly quick. Su Xing nevertheless was like he had become a puppet, a combat puppet. He did not hesitate at all to pursue to the side. Apparently he had already sniffed out his target. The vermilion bird appeared as expected. Su Xing acted, his two claws blowing wind. As if they had become shadows, they ripped apart the vermilion bird's flames. In the middle of its cries, the flames flourished. Its body seemed to enlarge, its illusory body having a comparatively substantial feeling. Su Xing leaned, bringing an ear-piercing whistle in the wind. His figure already appeared above the vermilion bird, ignoring that raging heavenly fire. His body rolled, and he raised then lowered a leg, resolutely hacking it down. His leg slashed down like a sharp blade. This was a very commonly seen attack movement, and of the leg arts, it was the most simple, most convenient, and the most quick move. It was just that being used this time by Su Xing, it astonishingly brought a strength that was different from previous times. The black markings over his whole body were like blood vessels, shining with the color of blood. The imposing aura was astonishing in swiftness and severity. The sharp whistle in the air hissed loudly, as if the air had been split in half. Bang! A frightening power suddenly erupted. The vermilion bird that had already lost the advantage of its heavenly fire could only be passive, actually suffering through this. Its body swayed, then swayed again. Su Xing nearly severed its wings, a scene quite unbearable. But the Su Xing under the god transformation talisman's sole sense of beauty was violence. Its body seemed to have lost its strength. Su Xing's body suddenly did a horizontal roll, and an iron leg already once again brought a terrifying whistling wind that hacked onto the same place on the vermilion bird. Bang! The vermilion bird dodged. Another roll, another whip of the leg. Bang! Bang 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 bang. In that instant, Su Xing was similar to a wild and fierce hurricane. His entire person already became a shadow spinning in the air. In a flash, several dozen kicks chopped like a blade, each time not leaving the vermilion bird's heavenly fire feather crest. Wuxia on the other side currently confronted the black tortoise. This black tortoise's defenses were extremely strong, more formidable than the profound star barrier. However, its attacks were mediocre. Even the Wuxia, who had suffered serious injury to her vitality, could barely cope with it. The most troublesome was that white tiger. Its speed was extremely quick, its attacks fierce, and its reactions were also incomparably swift. Its tiger claw and hiss were more powerful than the white and black unicorn tiger. Its frequent sneak attacks could put Su Xing and Wuxia somewhat in a difficult situation. For lack of a better option, Su Xing could only call out Yanizhen. Skillful star wanderer Yanqing flew into the sky. Her yin-yang Pisces fists repeatedly bombarded, and when she faced the white tiger's ferocity, she was occasionally light as debris in flowing water, occasionally heavy as Mount Tai squeezing from above. Her boxing fluctuated, and her yin-yang palm and swallow flash samsara were not neglected. When Envious of the East saw the scene before him, he was stunned. What he saw in front of him actually was preposterous to everything he had saw in his whole life. 3 star generals, and a galaxy early-stage cultivator, using the god transformation talisman. Across the 1,000 years of the star duels, there had yet to be something so ridiculous. The Su Xing under the god transformation talisman suppressed the vermilion bird. The ranked 4th leisure star Gong Sun Sheng tangled with the azure dragon. The ranked 14th harm star Wusong warded off the black tortoise, and the ranked 36th skillful star was evenly matched with the white tiger. In the past, Envious of the East relied on this prehistoric spirit treasure 4 symbols seal with success every time. When the 4 symbols seal emerged, the 4 divisions holy beasts would sweep forth. Even cultivators of the same stage would be somewhat fearful. It was precisely because of this that the most high path would be the Azure Dragon Territory's #1 great sect. But what Envious of the East would never have thought of in any case was that the 4 holy beasts summoned from the 4 symbols seal would unexpectedly be completely suppressed. Furthermore, it was 3-star generals. 3-star generals. Their most high path had just 1 heavenly star. Yet this man unexpectedly could have 3 serve him. How is this possible? Envious of the East gnashed his teeth, promptly striking hand seals. It was a pity that the 4 symbols seal and the dual mode profound dust sword array already were Envious of the East's final trump cards. He had no other means and could only continuously imbue star energy into the 4 symbols seal. Today, if you do not die, then who will? The Battle of Sushing and the 3 heavenly stars could be rated as unique, but at this very moment, those cultivators currently fighting over the 10,000-year Gu demon nevertheless did not pay attention to Envious of the East's shock. Moreover, that Taoye's immense mouth was about to devour 5 poisons mountain. Everyone's complexions were pale. And then they saw a girl in a blue and white long skirt step over on clouds. She was Qingxi. Beside Qingxi was a fiend star with a biting cold murderous aura. The cultivators in an instant pulled together as one, knowing if they were swallowed by this, that 10,000-year Gu demon would be seized away by that her group. Their powers stumbled over one each other, and could count as having beat back this enormous mouth. The strange dragon transformed into a black Taotai cauldron in Qingxi's jade hand. That Taotai was released from this black cauldron. Taotai cauldron. A supercluster early-stage star master. Everyone's lines of sight was directed at Qingxi, their eyes showing shock. To unexpectedly have a supercluster early-stage star master at the current phase actually was inconceivable. And from the ignorance in the eyes of the others, this woman had never been heard of. The shameful woman from who knows where dares be delusional. Lady Snake Scorpion saw the star general at Qingxi's side, and her face went cold. A swarm of poisonous bees attacked. Qingxi's expression was extremely light as ink that had dripped into water and dissolved. They saw a rainbow light linked together, exposing a jade ring. This ring was exactly like the doorknocker's 2 of palaces, a dragon-like thing biting on a circle. That ring escaped to in front of Lady Snake Scorpion, and abruptly swelled to cover Lady Snake Scorpion. The jade ring's light rays glowed brightly. Lady Snake Scorpion was shocked, for she suddenly felt her body lose all spiritual power. Her star energy disappeared and her strength vanished. She could not even exert a bit of force. Virtuous picture ring. 3. Every one of the powerful founders present narrowed their eyes and saw the history of this treasure. If this was only a superb entrapment magic weapon, the founders present, including Holy Mother Qi Xia, were unlikely to be shocked. Qingxi slightly smiled, and her whole body vaguely showed 8 different types of items that revolved around. A jade seal, treasure bottle, bell, instrument, cauldron, ruler, saber, and a portrait. Each was different, each had a threatening spiritual power, and purple light flourished. This is that legendary purple star astral treasure of Heavenly Master 9 Dragons. The dragon has 9 suns seal. Xianzhenzi shouted in amazement. His always experienced voice showed an unrestrainable envious intent. The dragon has 9 suns seal was also called His Majesty 9 Dragons, 9 Dragons seal, or the 9 Dragons spirit treasure. 9 purple star astral treasures in one body, each with a unique function, each with boundless capability. Of course, 1 purple star astral treasure was sufficient to let cultivators run amok, but dragon has 9 suns was 9. You dare bully Mother Highness? Xia Bao was angered, continuously urging on the golden scorpion fine rain needles. They transformed into a sparkling rain of gold. The murderous woman beside Qingxi raised her arms and chopped down with the gloom upon them. A baleful aura easily broke these golden scorpion fine rain needles. Furthermore, that murderous air did not withdraw, but directly twisted forth. Xia Bao only just dodged, but Long Kue was like an iron tower and appeared behind her. Xia Bao was startled, and the 2 clumps of gloom hacked downwards. Xia Bao immediately entered the star nest. A multicolored light suddenly struck. Long Kue easily blocked, her weapon stopping it. The gloom on the weapons nevertheless was subsequently dispersed, exposing a pair of unstoppable broad axes. Bereaved immortal lofty slaughter. 5. She is the killer star black whirlwind Li Kue. 6. How about giving this 10,000-year Gu demon to your servant? Qingxi slightly smiled. How about giving this 10,000-year Gu demon to your servant? Qingxi slightly smiled, repeating her words just now. Her smile nevertheless made the others feel a chill in their hearts. The cultivators present drew in a breath, feeling that their hands and feet were ice cold. Watching the killer star fight, their hearts had a sort of reverence. Liangshan continent was fond of using Fiend Star to address star generals, but there was only one among the 108 star generals that genuinely could count as the Fiend Star. This was the rank 22nd killer star Black Whirlwind Li Kuei. Naturally fond of killing, she possessed formidable battle senses. When she launched into a frenzy, whatever ability or magic weapon was totally ignored. To capture this sort of star general was extremely difficult. However, on second thoughts, the woman of unsurprised appearances in front of them nevertheless possessed a shocking astral treasure and an unprecedented supercluster cultivation. To be able to receive killer star Li Kuei did not count as anything. Just who are you? Everyone was shaken by the woman before them. Across all of Liangshan continent, apparently, they had yet to hear of this sort of character. Could it be you are that great Saint Star Killer of the Black Turtle territory? Ancestor Longevity's tone concentrated. Great Saint Star Killer was the Black Turtle territory's #1 star master, purportedly cultivating a transforming star of annihilation level cultivation method. The person's cultivation was out of the ordinary. If it was truly a transforming star of annihilation grade cultivation method, for him to truly reach supercluster stage cultivation was only natural. Furthermore, he was known as Great Saint Star Killer. Seeing that Star General was the killer star, could it be his name was because of this? Your servant is Qingxi, who certainly would not self-title herself some Great Saint Star Killer. Qingxi timely smiled. This 10,000-year Gu demon will not be turned over to you. The ancestors were very angry in their hearts. If this 10,000-year Gu demon was given to this Qingxi, that was enough. The star masters under their schools were not to be oppressed into cleaning rags. Although these ancestors harbored ulterior motives, they very quickly reached a tacit understanding that they absolutely could not hand the 10,000-year Gu demon over to Qingxi, even if they had to destroy it. Thinking of this, they squabbled over it even faster, completely not holding back on any of their powers. When Qingxi saw this, she did not say much. She opened her hand, and a Biantu instrument flew out. Afterwards, it rapidly became big. Her white fingers plucked, and the strings oscillated, playing a decadent music that rolled towards everyone. This music was like a phoenix ascending to heaven, like a dragon diving under the sea, containing a kind of indescribable magic. The chants of countless heavenly women surrounded from all directions, nearly breaking the concentration of the ancestors. If it was not for their deep and resounding divine intents, perhaps they already would have been put under her thrall. Xianzhenzi and the rest immediately released defensive magic weapons, the divine lights around their bodies greatly flourishing. Zhongqi was enraged when he listened to that decadent music. How could he be fond of an unbridled supercluster stage star cultivator? He puffed his mouth and nostrils, and Golden Crow's divine flame gushed forth from his mouth, covering the sky and earth, rolling forth. Killer star Li Longkue at this time received Qingxi's indication. She raised the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter to attack, the double axe's murderess. Demonic and fiendish black light surrounded the woman's body. Li Longkue's double axes were waved violently, rising up, back and forth several times, and the great expanse of Golden Crow's divine flame had been broken to bits and pieces. Zhongqi was actually not surprised. His current Golden Crow's divine flame was at 40 or 50%, however. The reason he spat the Golden Crow's divine flame was to vent his heart's anger on one hand, and on the other, it was intended to incite the killer star's irritability, making the other ancestor go attack. As expected, the killer star attacked. Xianzhenzi and the other supercluster stage ancestors were the very first to move. How could they allow this killer star to get close? They each gave up on battle, and with tacit understanding, released their flying swords, sword arrays, magic weapons to go obstruct her. Although the 10,000-year Gu demon was attractive, They would need their lives to enjoy it. The bereaved immortal lofty slaughters slashed down. The killer star's killing intent truly was as violent as the rumors said, directly hacking apart the ancestral master's obstructions. The supercuster ancestral master looked at each other, knowing they could not hold back any longer. Just at this time, Qingxi called out, "Long Kuei, come back!" The killer star Li Longkui halted her figure, instantly returning to Qingxi's side. Qingxi also knew that against 4 supercluster ancestral masters, Li Longkui could only go court death. However, these supercluster ancestral masters hindered Qingxi's 9 Dragon Spirit Treasure, and did not dare to arbitrarily act. There also an even more serious reason, and that was that the 10,000-year Gu demon that had been forced to its last vestiges of strength by these cultivators in addition to being trapped by Qingxi's Bayan music was already thoroughly unconscious. The current 10,000-year Gu demon was just like a precious piece of jade tossed onto the side of the road, just waiting for someone to pick it up. How could they be willing to watch this treasure at their feet be taken by someone else? Holy Mother Qixia seized the chance to send a multicolored light from the Qixia banners that rolled up the 10,000-year Gu demon to capture it. Zhongqi snorted out a yellow light that enveloped the 10,000-year Gu demon to vie for it. The other supercluster ancestors feared these supervoid cultivators no longer. In short, they would do their utmost to go squabble for it. Lady Snake Scorpion stared at Qingxi with fire about to shoot from her eyes. She had been trapped by the virtuous picture ring, and could only watch helplessly as the 10,000-year Gu demon she had painstakingly nurtured be squabbled back and forth by others. Truly, she was angered to leaking smoke. Just at this moment, they suddenly heard a whooshing sound come from the skies. Before the person arrived, an imposing air came first. Lady Snake Scorpion was delighted, loudly shouting, "Lord Husband, quickly go snatch that 10,000-year Gu demon." Besides Zhongqi, everyone changed expressions, and even Holy Mother Qixia showed a grim expression. Everyone's eyes had hardly blinked when they had just heard a noise. Afterward, a tall and sturdy man all of a sudden appeared in the sky, draped in golden armor and cape. His back had 2 wings that covered the sky, imposing and brilliant, shaking the rivers and mountains. He was precisely Great Sage Falling Sky Rock Demon King. When the Rock Demon King arrived, the Azure Dragon Territory ancestors' hearts were the most confused, adding on even more speed to their squabble. They knew that using such depleted energy to contest the Rock Demon King, they inevitable were not opponents. The Rock Demon King looked at the strange scene of 5 Poisons Mountain with slight surprise briefly. On one side was Envious of the East's 4 symbols seal in a war with a man and 3 women. On another side he saw 6 cultivators fighting over a black and ugly monster. What the fuck was going on? The Rock Demon King for a time could not make sense of the situation in front of him. He heard the Lady Snake Scorpion call out. The Rock Demon King saw his trapped wife and was infuriated, loudly shouting. A golden bar mace 3 was thrown out. The golden bar mace's light rays flashed and struck onto the virtuous picture ring. The Rock Demon King's cultivation was deep and resounding, and with this attack, the virtuous picture ring jolted with a dragon's cry, resounding in space. Qingxi's heart moved, and she hastily waved a hand to recall the virtuous picture ring. This Rock Demon King's cultivation was formidable as expected. The spiritual power of the Purple Star Grade 9 Dragon's Spirit Treasure's virtuous picture ring was unexpectedly damaged. Unexpectedly daring to harm my wife. The Rock Demon King looked at Qingxi, his eyes containing fury. His hands grabbed at the air, and he shook his wings. Those golden wings flapped, and a golden light suddenly fell like rain. Killer Star Li Longkui raised the bereaved immortal lofty slaughter to slash, but that golden light was emitted by a supervoid cultivator. This level of power struck Li Longkui that she spat out blood. Qingxi threw out the strongest defensive magic weapon of the 9 Dragons' Spirit Treasure, the Prostrate Snake Ruler. The Prostrate Snake Ruler became a rippling blue dragon shadow, coiling around her whole body and deflecting the golden rain. Dragon has 9 suns seal? What a woman to unexpectedly have this level of astral treasure. The Rock Demon King wanted to seize it the moment he saw it. Lord Husband, it is urgent that you quickly go fight for that 10,000-year Gu demon. Lady Snake Scorpion was unable to deal with Qingxi. Seeing the 10,000-year Gu demon about to be taken, she hastily called out for the Rock Demon King. The Rock Demon King nodded when he saw air pass through the mountains and rivers, and he shouted, "Tai, still you do not withdraw at once," unexpectedly daring to snatch the things of this king's wife. The Rock Demon King's wings flapped. At once, he truly split heaven and earth apart. A golden light enveloping his entire body resisted the attacks of all the cultivators. His divine might shook, and the supercluster ancestral masters of the Azure Dragon territory cried out, having been shaken that their chi and blood rolled, unbearable to the extreme. When Zhongqi saw this, he retreated to one side. Only Holy Mother Qixia remained unmoved. The two were both known as the Demon Kings of a mountain, neither frightened of the other. "Holy Mother Qixia, do you also wish to steal this king's things?" The Rock Demon King sneered. Holy Mother Qixia's face was expressionless and did not reply, raising a 7-colored light to attack the Rock Demon King's rock golden light. Holy Mother Qixia also borrowed the shifting light image switching mirror. Handling Lady Snake Scorpion's Star's Falling Dragon sword cost her much star energy, but it was sufficient to fight evenly with the Rock Demon King. "Senior brother Zhongqi," the Rock Demon King shouted. The Zhongqi to the side gave up going after the 10,000-year Gu demon, understanding tacitly as he spat out Golden Crow's divine flame to attack. The Qixia banners released a divine light that protected Holy Mother Qixia's body. Holy Mother Qixia grit her teeth, and the Qixia banners assembled into a single whole that suddenly emitted power. A beam of multicolored light gathered and slammed into the Rock Demon King's golden magic light. Bang! The super void powers collided, immediately releasing a world-shaking noise. 5 Poisons Mountain half collapsed with a loud bang, the two each forced back. The 10,000-year Gu demon had been sent flying under this power. The Rock Demon King was delighted when he saw this, and just as he was about to roll it away, he suddenly caught sight of a Taotai faster than him by a step. Its large mouth opened and swallowed the 10,000-year Gu demon. Everyone was shocked, astonished to see Qingxi release the Taotai cauldron to capture the 10,000-year Gu demon. It was already too late for everyone to want to fight over it anymore, for the 10,000-year Gu demon had been taken away. At this time, they saw 100 dragon images similar to a linked flying sword suddenly sweep forth, rushing to suddenly slash that large mouth of the Taotai just as it was about to return to the black cauldron, breaking this astral treasure. It was the Lady Snake Scorpion. Lady Snake Scorpion exhausted all of her strength to once again wield the Star's Falling Dragon sword, but she was spent. The Falling Dragon sword's might was greatly decreased and barely broke the Taotai cauldron. Also, at the same time, Lady Snake Scorpion vomited blood, just like her vitality had been greatly harmed. This unexpected turn of events left everyone dumbstruck. Receiving the converging attacks of two powers, the 10,000-year Gu demon was tossed out once again and flew away in a very high arc. This flight just so happened to be in the direction envious of the east. Furthermore, that side fighting for the 10,000-year Gu already was getting worse and worse. Su Xing's side where he confronted envious of the east had also reached the critical juncture, and the degree of intensity made it so that Su Xing did not have any leisure to check whose area the 10,000-year Gu demon would fall into. The 4 holy beasts that emerged from 4 symbols seal truly were awesome, their attacks effective. Envious of the east was continuously urging star energy, nearly not holding back in the slightest. The Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Turtle and White Tiger were unwilling to surrender and fought in a jumble. They were seemingly immortal and indestructible, however, in the end there was a limit. Under this kind of high-speed consumption, how could envious of the east still maintain the 4 symbols seal? At this time he finally showed a slip in attention. Su Xing seized this chance. The holy beast Vermilion Bird cried. All of the heavenly fire that sprayed from its body containing a spiritual nature, and chasing Su Xing's body techniques were like a roaming dragon, nimbly scuttling back and forth. Then he approached under the effects of the God Transformation Talisman. 5 claws like blades ripped the Vermilion Bird. The Vermilion Bird cried, flapping its wings even more, but at this time, it seemingly was even more like it was engaging in a useless struggle immediately afterwards. Su Xing stepped onto the vermilion bird's back, his hands penetrating the vermilion bird's heavenly fire and grabbing heavily onto its insides. Envious of the East was already powerless from the heart to continue maintaining his magic energy. The vermilion bird wailed, and its thread of true spirit abruptly shattered. Suddenly, the vermilion bird's whole body transformed into pieces of flame, disappearing without a trace. Envious of the East's mouth was agape, incapable of believing this. The vermilion bird of the four symbols seal broke just like that. The God Transformation Talisman generally took demon beast souls of rank 10 or higher as the most valiant. However, Su Xing's God Transformation Talisman was somewhat weaker, using several demon beasts of rank 7 and 8 or higher in its refinement. Even so, this many assembled together was very vigorous, and in addition to Su Xing's own extraordinary martial force, he was like a tiger that grew wings the moment he used the God Transformation Talisman. Breaking the defenses of the weakest vermilion bird was still not that easy, but envious of the East's nightmare was far from finished. Getting rid of the protective vermilion bird of the four symbols seal, Su Xing did not have any carelessness. Under the effects of the God Transformation Talisman, Su Xing at this moment truly was full to bursting with self-confidence. Seizing the fact that the God Transformation Talisman was still active, Su Xing launched an attack on the white tiger without the slightest hesitation. The white tiger was the strongest of the four symbols. For Yan Yizhen, resisting its storm-like speed and thunderclap-like strength was exceptionally exhausting. "Little E, go help Xiao," Su Xing shouted. In the case that the Su Xing under the God Transformation Talisman fought without distinguishing friend or foe, out of fear of injuring her, he had Yan Yizhen go aid Xiao in handling the black turtle. Yan Yizhen understood, and her figure escaped. The white tiger violently pounced, but it was immediately blocked by Su Xing. Little E did pretty good. The white tiger before him had fur of white rays, its eyes releasing a divine power. Its forelegs walked in snow, however. The Yin-Yang Pisces fists Yan Yizhen continuously used to strike still gave the white tiger major injuries. In the instant the white tiger pounced forward, a heavy pressure pressed over. Su Xing's hands grabbed the white tiger, and the muscles of his whole body bulged. His blood vessels were seemingly about to burst, but the white tiger's pounce was not only very fast, its power was also very strong, slamming Su Xing that his waist was like a tree being bent. Su Xing seized the chance to throw the white tiger into the air. At the same time, his ice-cold figure suddenly leapt. His silhouette drew a perfect arc in midair, already arriving right above the white tiger. Somersaulting in the air, two claws like a demon scratched, the movement smooth. Suddenly his eyes were dazzled. The white tiger hanging in the air like soft cotton unexpectedly put out a defense. However, in a lightning-fast instant, with a violent noise, Su Xing's attack did not take any sort of advantage. When this attack was finished, the white tiger had not yet landed when it already launched an assault. A light beam was fired. Su Xing already seemingly reacted, leaning. In the midst of the ear-piercing hum it brought in the air, his figure already appeared above the white tiger's head. His body rolled, and he brought a leg up, violently chopping down with it. Su Xing's every attack was at full power, without holding back in the slightest, an imposing air so swift and severe it was shocking. The sharp whistle in the air grew louder, as if it had been divided in two at this instant. Bang! A frightening force suddenly erupted. This time, the white tiger did not have even the chance to react, actually suffering this. Bang! Instantly, Su Xing's fist showed a sort of odd clenched form. Besides protruding the joints of his 5 fingers, they carried a powerful strength towards the white tiger's bare throat. It was worthy of the name for holy beasts, however. Things lasted only an instant. The white tiger's figure evaded, and by the time Su Xing reacted, the time it took to launch a counterattack was only an instant. Bang! The tiger claw made a normal pat, but it ruthlessly sunk into Su Xing's body. An immense, even terrible, power immediately erupted, sending him flying backwards facing upwards, just like a piece of white paper floating down. Instantly the white tiger pursued, its offensive stifling and violent. It leapt beautifully in midair, And another paw brought the sound of wind as it once again ferociously scratched Su Xing's body, bringing out flesh and blood. If it was not for the god transformation talisman making his body's basic essence surly to an unreasonable stage, this smack would have already broke Su Xing in two. The man and tiger fought 100 bouts, and afterwards, Yan Yizhen and Wuxia were suddenly added into the combat situation. The white tiger could not hold out even if it was any stronger. The three working together destroyed the white tiger, and by the time the black turtle charged over, Yan Yizhen had received an attack that she nearly entered the star nest. The maid's mouth leaked blood, already weak all over, but her face still hung tenacity upon it. When the three surrounded the black turtle produced a serpentine cry, truly a sort of mournful appearance of being pinned. Envious of the East watched as his four-symbol seal was broken one by one, his heart truly hating to death that he was incapable of other abilities. Because he relied on the dual-mode profound dust sword array and the four-symbol seal. In addition, that envious of the East was of supervoid cultivation that permitted him to rampage in Liangshan. Envious of the East disdained to go learn some other abilities after the fact. Seeing that even the four-symbol seal was unable to be sustained, on one hand, he unleashed the primordial boundless flying swords while endlessly urging the four-symbol seal onwards on the other. What might as well have let envious of the East be relieved was that terrifying woman-harm star Wusong finally stopped her attack. It seemed she was already spent and had become deadweight, and the other skillful star also was growing increasingly weak, having been shaken by the black turtle several times. After the leisure star fully displayed her star magic several times, she had disappeared. Su Xing was left with no choice but to swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree to break away from the dangerous situation. And that god transformation talisman was slowly sapping his strength. There was a trick. Envious of the East's heart was delighted. Apparently, he saw the Liangshan shaking splendor of one person's strength getting rid of 3-star generals. If he knew Su Xing's current thoughts, perhaps he would not be this relaxed. Su Xing saw that the four-symbol seal was so powerful that his heart could not rid of itself of the idea to steal it, but he knew that although unrefined astral treasures were very easily taken, to snatch it from envious of the East's hands was not that simple. To steal an astral treasure, he first of all had to sever the link between user and astral treasure. The current four-symbol seal had left the final black turtle and azure dragon. Without breaking them, there would be no way to steal the four-symbol seal. If they were broken, envious of the East could immediately recall the four-symbol seal the moment he saw things turn for the worse. Su Xing was not arrogant enough to kill a supervoid cultivator, so to simultaneously break the four-symbol seal still required severing the connection between envious of the East and the astral treasure. For example, like Elder Immortal Extreme Clarity, his star energy was substantially consumed. Stealing at a time like this, he would not have the energy to recall it. Su Xing's thoughts rapidly spun, and then he had his countermeasure. The god transformation talisman's effects were gradually fading, and Su Xing also could feel his whole body hurt. Little Huang. Su Xing secretly used a sound transmission. The 10,000-year Gu demon. Gong Sun Huang understood, suddenly pointing in a different direction and shouting. When envious of the East heard this, he immediately turned his gaze by instinct, but he did not see any of the Gu demon's figure at all. Instead, he saw the Rock Demon King and Holy Mother Qixia in battle. It seemed this trip for the Gu demon was a waste. However, if he killed 3-star generals, taking back the miraculous Bodhi tree was worth the price. It was just during this instant he turned his head that Su Xing knew his chance had come. His left hand flipped, and the green lotus peak swelled in size by several times, pressing down. Little Huang immediately used star magic to trap the azure dragon and black turtle. The green lotus peak heavily pushed down. The black turtle sprayed an enormous light and the azure dragon soared into the clouds to resist the green lotus peak. But along with Su Xing swishing the miraculous Bodhi tree several times, he broke the holy beast's magic. His star energy increased, and the green lotus peak immediately flattened and scattered the wisp of true spirit of the azure dragon and black turtle. The green lotus peak. You killed Taoist Master Qinglian? Envious of the East was greatly shocked. Seeing the 4 holy beasts of the 4 symbols seal had completely been broken, Envious of the East's expression was unsightly to the extreme. Just as he was about to immediately recall it, Su Xing's finger shot an immortal magic, purple thunder dragon slaying, towards Envious of the East. Envious of the East quickly dodged, however, as a supervoid cultivator, he was naturally experienced enough to know Su Xing wanted to steal his 4-symbol seal. Inwardly sneering, he struck a hand seal. 100 primordial boundless sword lights suppressed Su Xing. Envious of the East rolled his sleeve, but a cool and elegant figure suddenly burst forth. Humph. Envious of the East saw Wuxia's sudden revolt, and realized the woman in front of him was biding her time for just this moment. Wuxia staked her last shred of energy to use Tenli Demon Lotus Dragon Slaying. This slash directly stabbed into Envious of the East, but this supervoid cultivator's cultivation was very formidable. It was too early for this sword to take Envious of the East's life. An Envious of the East slap struck Wuxia back into being caught by Yan Yizhen. However, Wuxia nevertheless wore a sort of victorious smile. Envious of the East's face changed. The 4 symbols seal. Envious of the East's reactions were fast enough. Without the slightest hesitation, he launched a sword array to attack Su Xing. So long as he could drag on for 1 second. That was enough. Envious of the East seemingly caught sight of a shadow flashing towards the 4 symbols seal in the air. In Envious of the East's eyes, he saw that was apparently a graceful girl dressed in black skin-tight clothes. By the time the sword array dispersed, Su Xing did not have any opportunities to go seize it at all. So Envious of the East breathed a sigh of relief. Coldly grinning, he was about to recall it. Suddenly, he discovered his own divine intent already could not sense the 4 symbols seal. Looking clearly, the jade seal had already disappeared without a trace. No, Envious of the East looked everywhere, but could not spot that black-clothed girl that had flashed by. His whole body shook, as if electricity was flowing through his whole body. He looked at Su Xing in alarm. The 10,000-year Gu demon. Su Xing abruptly looked behind Envious of the East, and completely did not hesitate to rush forward as he shouted, "Idiot!" Envious of the East cursed. How would he be duped again? Seeing Su Xing swipe the miraculous Bodhi tree in a tumultuous approach, his figure suddenly dodged to the side. This dodge left Envious of the East dumbstruck, and his insides were regretful. He only saw a pitch-black and ugly monster fly over. If Envious of the East had not evaded, it would have just happened to land on him, but he thought that Su Xing saying this was a ploy. Thus he dodged, and with this dodge, Su Xing took advantage of the gap and slipped through. The early bird catches the worm, and although the Rock Demon King's speed was quick, under the Bodhi's divine light, he could only retreat. Su Xing was greatly delighted when he grabbed onto the 10,000-year Gu demon. Imbuing it with essence, blood, and divine intent, he immediately captured it. Boom! Everyone stared wide-eyed at the youth that caught the snipe and clam. Little brat, hand over the 10,000-year Gu demon, otherwise, this king shall show you. The Rock Demon King sneered. The surrounding Azure Dragon territory founders, besides Holy Mother Qixia's eyes that had an odd indifference, and the 3 supervoid cultivators immediately surrounded Su Xing. Their spiritual powers released, making Su Xing unable to escape. "It is you." The Rock Demon King saw Su Xing and was enraged. Everyone was startled, hastily using their powers that restricted high speed. This time, Su Xing was at the so-called end of his rope. The sole solution perhaps was the jade pendant. But Su Xing looked at Wuxia. Wuxia slightly shook her head, determination written in her eyes. Su Xing firmly grasped Wuxia's wrist to demonstrate that he absolutely would not retreat. Yan Yizhen was not afraid to die, staring at everyone's oppressiveness. Gong Sun Huang also appeared as a divine power from nothingness. Just at this moment, there was a clear shout. "Sire, just allow us to star duel here." Qingxi abruptly shouted. What was odd was that she did not allow the killer star to advance and kill. Instead, she alone rushed forth toward Su Xing. This made Su Xing completely surprised because this girl did not have any killing intent at all. "We shall star duel. Do you wish to interfere?" Qingxi turned her head and smiled, not afraid in the least. "You two must die." Everyone saw Su Xing's powers were valiant, with 3 star generals protecting him. He had also obtained the 10,000-year Gu demon. And there was that Qingxi with the frightening killer star and 9 dragons spirit treasure. Right now was the perfect opportunity to get rid of the evidence. This will provoke Maiden Mountain. Queen Lady of Ice shook her head, not at all planning to loot a burning house. Holy Mother Qixia harbored the same thinking as she, however. This Holy Mother Qixia did not have the idea to help Wuxia out of this predicament. Under this many cultivators, she chose to put her own safety first. How can we be at ease if we do not kill him? The group of ancestors angrily shouted, their might wildly coming around. Just at this moment, a ruinous brilliance suddenly fell from the sky. This beam of light fell from the 9th firmament, falling between Su Xing and Qingxi. It engulfed them, and the cultivators' star energies and magic weapons were immediately broken. The Rock Demon King was startled. Whoever dares break Maiden Mountain's established rules, shall whoever prepare to court death. The figure had not yet arrived when an imposing heir came first. What a scam, Maiden Mountain be damned. Zhongqi sneered, transforming into a golden crow, greatly flourishing the divine flame to break this light beam. Hua! A golden 9-story pagoda fell from the heavens. The golden pagoda released a golden light that rolled up the golden crow's divine flame. Zhongqi was startled, and the golden pagoda rolled forth again. This supervoid-level immemorial golden crow from the White Tiger territory cawed, and was rolled into the pagoda without any resistance. Everyone was stifled. Heaven Earth Dark Yellow 1000 Pagoda. Qingxi's eyes narrowed, as if she had foreseen this, while a near imperceptible sneer flit across her lips. The 9-story pagoda floated above, its aura boundless. Seeing a supervoid-level cultivator unexpectedly being dispatched in one strike, the ancestors present looked as if they were facing a great enemy, the expressions of each anxious. The Rock Demon King, who was brothers with Zhongqi, also did not dare show his might. No longer did he have his previous air of a general. Inside the pillar of light, they spotted a womanly figure slowly descend. This woman wore a golden glass crown, and she wore golden thread treasure armor, woven with silk, separated with a swan and eye belt. Her feet were clad in golden luan and phoenix dance shoes, and her shoulders were draped in a shallow golden sash, moving without wind, giving people a sort of elegant feeling. Her fine jet-black hair was combed into a flying cloud bun. There was no character discernible in her eyes, but they were nevertheless bright, mysterious, and with a sort of indescribable severity. At this moment, she dropped from the sky, like a god descending into the world, imposing and illustrious. Su Xing, seeing clearly, entirely was unable to see anything of this woman's cultivation. Evidently, it had reached a kind of unfathomable stage. Who wishes to destroy the star duels? Announce their name. The woman spoke, obviously very indifferent, yet she pressured people that they could not breathe, as if every word was like a mountain. She looked all around everyone present, gesturing with an empty hand. The 9-story golden pagoda of glass and treasure light flew back to her hand. The pagoda shook, spurting out a burst of golden crow's divine flame. Clearly, it was going to refine Zhongqi. Seeing a supervoid cultivator being played with in her hand, everyone was incomparably overwhelmed with shock. Your servant is Demon King Rock. Brother Zhongqi just now unintentionally offended you, and your servant asks that adept let him off this once. The Rock Demon King ventured to plead for leniency. The girl's gaze seemingly was at crickets and ants, and she disdained to glance at him. This one came on orders of 9th heaven, but he dared to challenge Maiden Mountain's might. His guilt cannot be pardoned. This one sees he is the immemorial golden crow, that this one did not turn him to ash and dust. Yet thou still dares to beg for leniency. Thou does not know the immensity of heaven and earth. The woman coldly spoke, unexpectedly leaving the Rock Demon King powerless to refute. So overbearing. Su Xing's heart shuddered. Just what was the background of this woman that she would be this awesome, chiding the Rock Demon King as if she was chiding a child? May your servant ask which adept 9th heaven is? We have not offended Maiden Mountain at all. Xian Zhenzi promptly proclaimed their innocence. The girl snorted, loftily making an introduction. This one is pagoda-shifting Heavenly King Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai. 2. Having come on the orders of Ninth Heaven, as the star guard for Liangshan Continent's 9th generation star duels. If thou darest to violate the rules of the star duels, issuing a star position against the rules without permission, this one will immediately eradicate it. Who? Besides Qingxi's sneer of having anticipated this, everyone present all drew in a breath. They stared at the mighty and imposing girl brimming with incredible shock and disbelief. Pagoda-shifting Heavenly King Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai. It was said she was the very first commander of Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens, but she was not at all inside the star duels. The ancestors present each were the scholars of their sex and knew the secrets of the star duels like the back of their hands. The previous generations of star duels seemingly wrote down records of Chao Gai, but these had never been genuinely verified. Now hearing the girl announce her name, there was a kind of unspeakable shock. And seeing the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda propped on her hand, its treasure light imposing, everyone was almost completely believed it. There was only this kind of legendary star general that was capable of subduing a supervoid cultivator in a single move. Thinking of this, Xianzhenzi and the rest could not help but become restless. Seeing Chao Gai say she was to uphold the rules of the star duels, as it turned out, the actions they were about to undertake had alarmed her. Thinking to this, the faces of Xianzhenzi and the others were green. The envious of the East, who was proud for his whole life, did not feign his expression, coldly saying, "Could it be that you say that you are Chao Gai upholding the star duels in order to shelter these people?" Envious of the East pointed at Wuxia, Su Xing and the rest, the hatred in his eyes reaching bone. "Are all of Liangshan's cultivators such trash?" Chao Gai expressionlessly replied, 4 supervoid cultivators and 4 supercluster cultivators unexpectedly wished to join together to violate the star duels. This one does not care for thy grievances, but if thou darest to interfere and destroy the rules of the star duels without permission, this one naturally will make you scattered ash and dispersed smoke. Seeing the pagoda-shifting Heavenly King's final phrase of scattered ash and dispersed smoke downplayed as if she was eating a meal, the faces of everyone were completely unsightly. In any case, they were characters that could move unhindered in Liangshan, but they were like crickets and ants in the eyes of their counterpart. Even the Rock Demon King's eyes had a slight unhappy desire to kill. What high-sounding sentiments Maiden Mountain has. Envious of the East's expression sunk. Could it be you think this envious will fear you just because of a few of your words? Envious of the East. Xianzhenzi and the others panicked. Envious of the East had been robbed of the 4 symbols seal by Su Xing, and having put aside the 10,000-year gu, not having anything at all already made him sullen to the extreme. He truly had a hatred that itched to crush the bones of Su Xing and his companions and scatter their ashes. They were about to annihilate this man. But suddenly came some woman proclaiming herself the pagoda-shifting Heavenly King Thousand Buddha Star, even claiming to accept orders from the name Ninth Heaven and uphold Maiden Mountain's rules. What a fraud! If he, envious of the East, would be frightened like this, then he was not envious of the East. Dual mode profound dust sword array. Envious of the East gestured with both hands, and the 100 primordial boundless swords split off a multitude of sword lights. An expanse of cyan vastness astonishingly rolled up. When everyone saw him fully use the dual mode profound dust sword array, how would they dare to stay? Immediately they escaped far away. Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai had a cool eye. Instantly, she was trapped inside the dual mode profound dust sword array. To be frank, Su Xing very much looked forward to envious of the East being able to get rid of the woman in front of him. After all, this woman gave Su Xing a feeling that truly was very ominous. If he had to, Su Xing was secretly planning whether or not he should assist envious of the East. Kill. Envious of the East struck hand seals. Bursts of sword light fired inside the sword array. A power that seemingly toppled mountains and overturned seas covered Chao Gai. The pagoda-shifting Heavenly King was wholly lofty and unyielding, and it was unknown what place her strength was at or if her instincts were such, but the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda's aura was faint, protecting Chao Gai within. The dual-mode profound dust sword array's sword light struck wave after wave upon her golden light. Nevertheless, It was like running into a boulder, not shaking in the slightest. The person inside the dual-mode profound dust sword array could not see the outside, but the people outside could clearly see the activity inside. They saw Chao Gai seemingly do nothing and just rely on the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda to obstruct the dual-mode profound dust sword array. There were no words to describe the shock in everyone's hearts. Envious of the East overflowed with cold sweat, successively urging on the sword array several times. But this sword light that appeared like heaven overflowing waves seemingly sunk into the depths the moment it touched Chao Gai, disappearing completely. Fellows, this she-monster from who knows where wishes to safeguard the demons. If everyone does not follow Envious to kill her, then until when will everyone wait? Envious of the East shouted when he saw this. Xianzhenzi was silent. Ancestor Longevity's eyes carried ridicule, taking joy in the misfortune. Envious of the East's face greatly changed. He cursed, "Cowards! The light of a firefly dares to be impudent before this one." The pagoda-shifting heavenly king thousand Buddha star Chao Gai raised the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda. The pagoda released light, and its divine light extended 1,000 zhang. Boom! The dual-mode profound dust sword array broke in the blink of an eye. The 100 primordial boundless swords clattered, their spiritual powers completely lost. Not good. Envious of the East silently shouted, raising an escape light to flee. His reactions could not be called dull. But the escape light had just rose when an aura immediately rolled him up. No matter how Envious of the East struggled, he was incapable of freeing himself in the slightest. Chao Gai harumphed. The thousand pagoda shook, and another supervoid cultivator was sucked into it. Su Xing restrained his impulses, for he was very afraid of this woman. Supervoid cultivators were considered the peak in Liangshan continent, but in no more than a moment, this woman easily captured 2 of them, and he did not know whether it was that she was too terrifying or that heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda was an abnormal magic weapon and such. Seeing Envious of the East had been captured, everyone then was speechless, not daring to say anything. Beginning from this moment, the rules of this generation's star duels are revised anew. The rules are revised? What is the meaning of this? The thousand Buddha star Chao Gai seemingly glanced at Su Xing, intentionally or otherwise, but she nevertheless disdained to explain further. Su Xing's heart jumped, and he suddenly had a bad premonition. Sword light skyrocketed, breaking through the sea of clouds. Su Xing rode his sword ahead, his brow tightly creased. Thousand Buddha star Chao Gai suddenly descended, and the matter of 5 Poisons Mountain was finally ended with nothing finished. Although it seemed the pagoda-shifting heavenly king apparently was helping Su Xing settle a great trouble, Su Xing did not feel much relief. Chao Gai also made clear she was only interfering in the star duels. As for the grudges between star masters and the other sects, she categorically disregarded it all. Maiden Mountain's position was very clear. If others were to provoke star masters and the star generals, they would necessarily suffer heavenly punishment. Conversely, if a star master provoked a sect, then Maiden Mountain would let things run their course. Recalling at the last moment when Qingxi called out for a star duel, this woman apparently knew and foresaw this sort of matter would occur. Qingxi and the killer star Li Kuei also had a super purple star astral treasure, so they were considerably dangerous opponents too. Su Xing narrowed his eyes. With regards to things about Chao Gai, it would be best to ask Xinjia. Su Xing stopped his riding sword, dissatisfied with his current speed. If he continued like this, it was unknown how long it would take to reach Greencorn Mountain from 5 Poisons Mountain. What is the matter? Are you not worried about Yingmei? Why have you stopped? Wuxia asked. This is too slow. And I don't know how things are now. Su Xing shook his head. He suddenly flew to Wuxia's side. Wuxia was puzzled. Suddenly, Su Xing grasped Wuxia by the waist and lifted her into a carry. What are you doing? Wuxia was alarmed. Are you worried about Yingmei or not? Su Xing asked. Worried, naturally, Su Xing. Do not think your servant is easy to bully. Ai, how aggressive you were when you called out Lord Husband before. Su Xing shook his head in pity. Don't be awkward with the details if you want to see Yingmei quickly. Wuxia stared blankly. All of a sudden, she saw Su Xing vomit blood, and before she could understand what had happened, she heard a boom. A bloodlight splattered and instantly escaped several 10,000 li. Wuxia's mouth was agape. Su Xing, for the sake of seeing Lin Yingmei, used that self-harming escape technique. Seeing the resolution in Su Xing's eyes, Wuxia actually abruptly had a trace of envy for Lin Yingmei. Greencorn Mountain, the bamboo forest, had clear sounds, and there was also a flute's melody. Compared to the franticness before, at this very moment, it actually had an additional peaceful sort of feeling. Atop a cliff, a girl half knelt where she was and played a flute. The tune had lost its violence and now had a tranquility, and upon the girl's bosom lay a green-clothed woman. It was just that her breath had ceased, and she slept peacefully. At her side were two other girls quietly listening, respectfully, silent. Suddenly, a bloodlight made this quiet world fierce without warning. The listening girls rose, their eyes containing some surprise and excitement. It seems elder sister's young master has come. Iron flute deity Ma Lin set down her flute and slightly smiled. Little sister Xiao Xiao, 3, are you truly unwilling to form a contract with our young master? Our young master certainly is not an ordinary person. Wu Xinjie said pitifully. Xiao Xiao naturally has only one master, and her name is Yang Chuanxiu. Ma Xiao Xiao caressed the green-clothed girl. Yingmei Xinjie, you're all right? Su Xing was somewhat shocked when he saw the scene in front of him as he worriedly flew down. Young lord, Wu Xinjie embraced him and smiled. Thanks to little sister Yingmei. She unexpectedly broke the legendary ambush from 10 sides. 5. So young lord certainly must properly console her. Young lord, why are you covered all over in blood? I'm fine. Su Xing smiled and spotted that heroic girl, who in his memory had been forever stone-like, have a sort of strong sense of yearning. Young master. When Lin Yingmei finished speaking, she seemed to lose all of her strength. Su Xing took a sudden stride forward and embraced her upon his chest. Your servant will not make young master anxious. Lin Yingmei muttered. As long as you're all right. Su Xing tenderly kissed her hair. His bloody self at this moment was washed clean of its excess and ferocity. The pair's embrace actually appeared exceptionally tranquil with the peaceful sea of bamboo. Even Wu Xio could not bear to destroy this scene. Her heart sighed, just like she tacitly approved. The melody gradually ceased, resounding in the valley. Elder sister Yingmei has now found her wise lord. If only you could allow our following sisters to be released from the cycle of the star duels, then Ma Lin can die without regrets. The iron flute deity Ma Lin set down her flute, faintly heaving a long sigh. In the sky, down came a falling star. Watching this regretless sister fall, Wu Xio suddenly thought up of a phrase. Tiger's wind and dragon's cloud. In the midst of ridicule, a magnificent feat was established. From now through the 1,000 years after, who can compare? The void immortal's abode. Su Xing lied upon the sofa. He was dressed only in a pair of shorts, and although he occasionally knit his brow, his mood was still fairly relaxed. And Suwen was beside him. Her white fingers gently helped Su Xing apply medicine, smiling as she did so. Big brother, seriously, this type of escape technique is best used sparingly. This is too terrifying, and even elder sister Yingmei is distressed. Su Xing smiled. The distance to return to the void immortal's abode from Greencorn Mountain already had several days, and Suwen continuously was by Su Xing's side tending to the aftereffects of the chaotic tail escape technique. Although this type of frightful escape technique was capable of escape reviled by men and gods, the aftermath was very serious. In a short 7 days, Su Xing used it twice, so the self-harm was doubled. However, at that time, Su Xing worried about Yingmei and did not have that many misgivings. Su Xing groaned a few times, enjoyment across his whole face. To receive care like little sister and Suwen's, it was worth it. And Suwen stifled a shallow smile. Regardless of how severe the trials and hardships the big brother in front of her confronted in the Vermilion Bird territory, producing who knows what traces, even contracting the Gongsun Huang who was #1 in magic energy, he still was like the first time they met, not having changed in the slightest. Big brother. If you would like, little sister recalls there actually is a warm yang qi raising acupuncture technique. What use does this have? Su Xing asked curiously. It can allow Big Brother to improve his blood circulation, withstand external and internal injuries, and stabilize essence qi. Su Xing's eyes shone. This actually was a good thing. That was not saying injuries could be self-healed, and neither did this count for anything. What was important was that it could stabilize essence qi. Wounds could always be completely recovered from, but things like essence qi practically were the second lives of cultivators. In case there was great harm to vigor or essence qi, regardless of cultivation, magic energy and abilities would be greatly weakened. If it could stabilize essence qi, to a cultivator, this was honestly a wonder treatment. Little sister, why didn't you mention such a good thing earlier? Su Xing twitched his lips. Because this warm yang qi raising needs a long time of persistence in order to show results. Suan also does not know what the end result would be. And Suan softly replied. And what? Su Xing was curious. And little sister needs to massage the 720 acupuncture points in order to facilitate the process. And Suan was somewhat embarrassed. Su Xing could count as knowing why, and Suan was too embarrassed to mention this. 720 acupuncture points. A person's body altogether had 720 of them. Would that not imply sincere trust between the two? Su Xing faked a cough, feigning righteousness. This isn't anything shameful, Suan. It isn't right for you to be this lacking in confidence. And Suan won. Actually thinking, she seemed to have done something even more shameful for the Big Brother before her. 2. This was only a massage. Furthermore, seeing Su Xing practice such a self-harming cultivation method, and Suan's heart could not bear it. She whispered. Then little sister will carefully serve Big Brother. However, it will hurt slightly at the very beginning. Big Brother must bear with it. It's fine. Could it be able to get through the chaotic tail escape? Su Xing smiled. Although his words were spoken with a clear conscience, when it was actually time to undress himself of those shorts, he was somewhat embarrassed. Do I really need to undress? Su Xing chuckled. You actually do not, but there will be some pain. And Suan's face was slightly red, and she shallowly smiled. Then it's fine. Su Xing breathed a sigh of relief, then lied back down on the bed. And Suan took in a deep breath. Her white finger slightly extended, and a faint clear light gradually appeared on her fingertip. Her fingertip touched, and suddenly came a sort of pain like his meridians were being burned by fire. Fortunately, Su Xing's chaotic tail escape was practiced to proficiency. This pain was still bearable, but following in Suan's acupuncture technique's gentleness, there was another sort of feeling that was unbearable. This scene was just like they had returned to that time when Suan originally refined the pills for breakthrough to galaxy stage for his sake, possessing an unclear strangeness. And Suan lightly bit her red lips, doing her utmost to throw herself into the warm yang qi raising acupuncture technique massage. In the air, a trace of ambiguity passed through. Outside the Void Immortals abode, Wuxia and Lin Yingmei were currently listening to Shi Yuan recount the affair of 10,000 Poisons Mountain in the Vermilion Bird territory. The various kinds of thrills the two beauties heard split them into shock, and when they learned Su Xing contracted the Leisure Star, the ranked fourth dragon in the clouds, Wuxia felt this was unforeseen. That Su Xing contracted a new sister, Wuxia naturally knew, but she did not know who. Originally, she had thought it was one of the earthly star little sisters, yet she did not think it would be the number one in magic energy Leisure Star. Regarding this gossip, Wuxia naturally was very curious. The persons involved, Gongsun Huang and Yan Yizhen, currently were in the star nest self-cultivating, and Wuxia only spoke generally about the concrete details. Little sister Xiao has approved of the man Yingmei looks upon, right? Wuxia saw Wuxia was seemingly somewhat absent-minded, and her eyes slightly turned. And Wuxia nodded. However, if Su Xing dares to disappoint Yingmei, your servant naturally will not be polite with him. Why does little sister not simply sign a contract with young lord? Xinjia thinks that Yingmei might also be thinking this. Yingmei, is this correct? Wuxia asked. Lin Yingmei nodded. Your servant cannot betray the name of the pilgrim. Wuxia shook her head. Although she had intended to refuse, Wu Xinjie was astonished to find Wuxia seemingly did not have any conflicting intentions, as if it was only because of some reason that she was slow and uncertain to make a firm resolution. The knowledge star immediately thought this was to be expected. After all, the harm star was the previous generation's overlord. This virtually was another chain. The super self-respecting Wu Song signing a contract undoubtedly would be taken as a joke in Liangshan. Regardless of how things were, she would rather die. Not signing a contract probably was Wu Xiao's bottom line. Wu Xinjie said this was a pity. Xiao, then what do you plan to do next? Lin Yingmei sighed. Your servant will fulfill her duties. Evil Smiting Hall will commence after a month. At that time, your servant will accompany you in entering Evil Smiting Hall. Before then, your servant has some matters to attend to. Yingmei. He actually is a man that can make others very relieved. Your servant need not worry. Wu Xiao said. Lin Yingmei sighed. A moment afterwards, the door to the immortal's abode opened, and Ensuan unhurriedly exited, thoroughly red in the face. Is young lord all right? There are no big hindrances. He can completely recover with several days' self-cultivation. Ensuan said. Oh, very good. Xinjie shall go give young lord a nice surprise. Wu Xinjie's eyes were somewhat crafty, and she impatiently ran into the immortal's abode. Sister Xinjie, hand this over to Su Xing. Shi Yuan shouted. Wu Xinjie turned her head, and a magnificent and vivid four symbols jade seal fell into her hand. This was Envious of the East's four symbols seal. Originally, Su Xing knew that Envious of the East would spare no effort to stop him. For this reason, he intentionally allowed the thief star Shi Yuan, who had self-cultivated for a long time, to go steal it while he himself attracted Envious of the East's attention. With those excellent hiding techniques of the thief star, she had greater certainty than if Su Xing were to go grab it. Seeing Shi Yuan currently study meticulously the 5 poisons banner Su Xing gave to her, Wu Xinjie smiled. When Wu Xinjie left, Wu Xiao said, Yingmei, can your servant ask you a question? What question? What if someday someone made you leave Su Xing? What would you do? That if you refused, Su Xing would die? Wu Xiao asked. Lin Yingmei did not expect she would ask this. For a time, she was silent, and then she unhurriedly said, Your servant would stake her life to kill that person. Wu Xiao smiled, somewhat approving while also carrying a bit of some other meaning. Xiao, why would you want to ask this? Are you hiding something else? Lin Yingmei furrowed her brow. She discovered that ever since they returned, several people had been slightly odd. Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang were exhausting all possible speed to quickly recover their vitality. If this was before, Little Yi would not stay in the star nest. Mostly, she would exploit the spiritual power of the immortal's abode to slowly recuperate, because although the star nest was very good, it had some effects on the star master. Furthermore, Shi Yuan also meticulously studied the 5 poisons banner and 5 poisons beast souls since she returned. Even Ensuan was not idle. Could it be that something has happened? Lin Yingmei wrinkled her brow. Just as Wu Xiao was about to reply, suddenly, the void immortal's abode seemingly had been torn apart. All of the girls turned their heads in astonishment, immediately assuming attack stances, and they saw a clump of golden light oddly appear out of thin air. Wu Xiao's heart immediately sunk. Young lord, what naughty things have you and little sister Suan done now? Wu Xinji entered the inner room wearing a playful smile, as if she was thinking of some fascinating affair. Suan only helped me with a good, warm yang qi raising massage. Su Xing put on a green shirt. His whole body was as if it had been bathed in a sauna. The pores and blood vessels of his entire body had all opened, and he felt good from head to toe. Wu Xinjie pounced, extending her supple tongue and wound it together with his. Su Xing had just suppressed his lust when it soared once more. He seized the opportunity to draw Wu Xinjie against his chest in an embrace as he kissed her. One hand then extended from Wu Xinjie's jacket into what was within, and the other gently played across Wu Xinjie's back, lifting the edge of her skirt. From the hem of her skirt, it slid towards the inside of Wu Xinjie's thighs. Wu Xinjie moaned, her eyes roaming with amorous feelings. Seeing young lord's energy so vigorous, Xinjie is relieved. Young lord currently is very uncomfortable. Su Xing felt he was about to explode. Wu Xinjie panted continuously, allowing Su Xing to do as he wished, sticking her supply body entirely close to his. Su Xing's hands extended into her bodice and kneaded what was in his palms. Sensing that hard burning below her, Wu Xinjie felt that it was somewhat unable to rise. Her charming words were like silk. "Young lord, do you want to ride a horse?" "Fuck." Su Xing quivered, nearly surrendering. "Xinjie, you alluring woman." Su Xing kissed her lips, not daring to actually do anything to Wu Xinjie. Otherwise, things would get out of hand if he truly made a move. "Wait a sec, I have something to give you." Su Xing suddenly remembered something, and he hastily stopped Wu Xinjie's messing around. "What thing is young lord feeling?" Wu Xinjie tenderly said. "Take a look. I really want to finish evil smiting hall quickly." The Su Xing, full of lust, helplessly said. Wu Xinjie hooked on an enchanting smile. She saw that what Su Xing took out was a book, and when she saw that book, she suddenly was stunned. Her face was then red, and she looked displeased at Su Xing. Just what happened when young lord and little sister Xia went to the Vermilion Bird territory? Young lord has even this sort of book. This book naturally was Fine Lady's Essence Gathering. Su Xing looked through several pages that were very similar to ancient erotic drawings. The inside introduced many techniques, however, Su Xing mostly could not understand it. The only thing he knew was that this Fine Lady's Essence Gathering was for a female to cultivate. Using it during sexual intercourse would be twice the effect with half the work. The first thought Su Xing had when he saw this Fine Lady's Essence Gathering was of Wu Xinjie. This alluring woman already made Su Xing near his limit anyways. Practicing this would make her ease her heart before the evil smiting hall, so as to avoid carelessly losing her virginity for a gain that did not outweigh the losses. Secondly, this sort of thing that could also give both sides benefits practically was a man's dream item. Wu Xinjie curiously flipped through the book, biting her lip. This was a bedroom art to be given to females to cultivate. Besides increasing the pleasure of a husband and wife, it could also increase the cultivation of them both, achieving mutual sensitivity, a realm of perfect harmony. This counted as a powerful dual cultivation. However, the methods to cultivate within were that even Wu Xinjie was somewhat blushing from looking at them. Some womb locking technique. 3. Essence transformation technique. She had never thought a husband and wife's bedroom matters could have so much scholarship. "How is it?" Su Xing asked very expectantly. 5. Is it any use? Wu Xinjie lightly nodded. Then, "Xinjie shall test it." Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue. Su Xing chuckled. Just at this moment, Su Xing's expression abruptly changed. His brow tightly wrinkled, and his hands flew to quickly help Wu Xinjie put her clothes on properly. "Young lord, what is the matter?" Wu Xinjie said in astonishment. "An uninvited guest has turned up." Su Xing coldly smiled, as if they had reacted to him. Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang simultaneously emerged from the star nest. "Little sisters, you were self-cultivating in the star nest?" 6. Wu Xinjie's mouth hung open, and Yan Yizhen expressionlessly nodded. What they had done just now, everything had been seen by the two. Wu Xinjie's face turned red. Fortunately, Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang were both that sort of person that had few words. That they did not show anything at all did not make things that embarrassing. Recalling Su Xing's grim expression, Wu Xinjie also resumed her calm, and exited the immortal's abode. Outside the immortal's abode, a girl whose whole body was surrounded by light descended like the heavens. "Heaven earth dark yellow thousand pagoda Chao Gai?" Wu Xinjie softly said. Seven-star generals, one-star master. This truly was considered unprecedented in the past or present. When Chao Gai saw Su Xing emerge, she was expressionless, neither sad nor happy. "Star Master Su Xing, thou clearly art guilty." The moment they saw one another, Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai's smile glowed, reflecting and undulating. Su Xing barely squeezed out a smile, only feeling in his heart a formless pressure covering the skies and earth approaching. This completely did not come from the outside world. Rather, it originated from his own mind. Su Xing worked the absolute sincerity soul technique to calm his mind. His heart knew the girl before him gave him pressure, handling things without shock. What is your servant guilty of? Thou hast elegant but insincere words, resorting to demagogy, deceiving 6-star generals into following thee. Still thou art unaware of thy guilt. Chao Gai shook her head and shouted. Divine light descended 10,000 zhang. Shua shua shua. The 7 beauties Lin Mei, Wuxia, Yin Yizhen, Gong Sunhuang, Wu Xinjie, Shi Yuan and Ensuan were all hostile, the atmosphere on the brink. Are you not the one resorting to demagogy? Chao Gai. Our willingly following young lord has actually been labeled by you as being deceived, hey? Wu Xinjie's complexion was angered. 1,000 Buddha star Chao Gai's aura retracted. But that thou hast broken the rules of the star duels is unavoidable. This one presents the orders of 9th heaven. Today this one warns thou, do not obstinately persist in thy wrong ways. How has your servant obstinately persisted in wrong ways? Su Xing sneered. Contracting 6-star generals. Thou hast broken the rules of the star duels, yet thou still darest to quibble? Chao Gai indifferently said. The star duels were set by you. Naturally, you are free to handle the rules. If you want to condemn someone, don't worry about the pretext. Su Xing's expression did not change. But they think highly of your servant. That is an honor for your servant. If your maiden mountain truly has this rule, could it be that she did not think to lay down a forbid dance? Indeed. That was because you peeped into a heavenly mystery by fluke, and thus broke the rules. The 1,000 pagoda star snorted. Ha! Su Xing's was baffled. What peeped into a heavenly mystery? Could it be said that his crossing over broke the heavenly mystery? All living things and all laws are in equilibrium. In the mysterious and inexorable, everything possesses a constant. If your servant peeped into a heavenly mystery, do you dare deny this was not arranged by the heavenly mystery? Su Xing said sternly. Your servant feels could it be that Maiden Mountain wishes to reap the consequences of its words, too, to change natural law in vain. Wuxia looked at Su Xing and thought. This man truly has a tongue like a reed, bursting with lotus flowers. Undoubtedly he has broken the rules. Yet his saying this was the responsibility of destiny makes Maiden Mountain actually appear somewhat inferior. Chao Gai's complexion slightly chilled. This one naturally disdains to speak more to thou. Your servant listens respectfully. Su Xing shrugged his shoulders. Thou can only contract 2-star generals. Thou must rescind the contracts of the others. 1,000 pagoda star Chao Gai glanced at everyone. You are dreaming. This Xinjie is young lord's people in life, and shall be young lord's ghost in death. This Xinjie does not give a damn what kind of character Maiden Mountain is. Sooner or later, one day, we will ascend Maiden Mountain to see just who is dressing up as God, playing the devil. Wu Xinjie said resentfully. Your servant also will not part from young master. Lin Mei clenched tight the Arctic star serpent spear, her murderous air trickling. The other beauties one after another also made clear their attitudes. When Wuxia saw this scene, she truly was somewhat shaken. In the 1,000 years of the star duels, it seemed fate was truly about to change. Good. Chao Gai calmly smiled. To be able to make the sisters wait upon thou like this one admires thy methods. Then this one can only kill the other 4-star generals. Whichever 2 of thou are willing to remain with, speak. Don't get ahead of yourself. A cloud passed over Su Xing's face. One hand seized the 4 symbols seal, and the other grasped the miraculous Bodhi tree. Even his flying swords that had damaged spiritual powers all flew out, suddenly revealing cold light. Thou refuses to comply? Chao Gai smiled. Stop talking rubbish. Yin Yizhen shouted. The yin and yang on her fists reflected, her palm blades chopping in succession. At the same moment, Lin Mei's long blizzard nights drew out a snowstorm, and Gong Sunhuang alternated her star magic. Even Shi Yuan's hoodwinking flying claws, and Ensuan's child and mother-linked heart's needles all advanced and attacked Chao Gai. A big star energy like turbulent waves overflowed. The heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 pagoda's aura was released, and everything destroyed Lin Mei and the rest's assault. Wuxia's noble frost demonic lotus at this time followed up, the sword light unstoppable, fast as quicksilver spilling over the ground. What, even Wusong has been bewitched by this man. Chao Gai waved a sleeve, blocking Wuxia's attack. Your servant just cannot bear to see your reliance on power. Wuxia shouted and slashed, and the white and black unicorn tiger fiercely pounced. Golden light dazzled. Suddenly, it sent Wuxia and the white and black unicorn tiger flying. A green lotus peak suddenly turned big. The four symbols seal transformed into four holy beasts, and Su Xing swished the miraculous Bodhi tree. The three prehistoric spirit treasures simultaneously attacked, the power terrifying. At the same time, the forbid dance formation of the Void Immortal's abode launched at this moment, like a formless power about to pulverize Chao Gai. Falling into this sort of battle array, even super void cultivators would be somewhat fearful. But Chao Gai indeed was a fierce general that needed only to raise a hand to capture two supercluster cultivators. The heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda hung above Chao Gai's head, with its aura spreading in every direction. Before the prehistoric spirit treasures drew near, they were dashed against golden light. Immediately they dispersed, unable to approach in the slightest. Ninth heaven has quite the virtue. Considering thou art a star master, this one only then did not put you away into the pagoda. Do not be unable to differentiate good and bad. Chao Gai indifferently smiled, her words containing a considerably deeper meaning. What ninth heaven, what maiden mountain, both rely on power. Your servant today insists on being unable to differentiate good and bad. Su Xing urged forth the purple mansion immortal's thunder, but the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda truly was formidable, simply unmoved in the slightest. This thousand pagoda star Chao Gai came from Maiden Mountain, and acted as the star guard of the 9th generation star duels. Naturally, she could not be underestimated. Her cultivation was unfathomable, and her star general realm had reached true phoenix. It was not an exaggeration to say she could move throughout Liangshan continent unhindered. No matter how the current Su Xing and his star generals that had yet to obtain star beasts wanted to shake her, it would be extremely difficult. The two sides simply were not at the same level. The heaven-earth dark yellow thousand pagoda rose, its aura spreading over 10,000 zhang, forcing everyone to shut their eyes. The star duels originally belonged to destiny. Maiden Mountain is overbearing, and for what reason? Chao Gai, you acting as the star guard nevertheless is breaking the rules from the center. It seems that Maiden Mountain is merely so. Wuxia yelled with difficulty. The rays of light suddenly subsided. Thousand Pagoda star Chao Gai laughed out loud, pensively looking at Wuxia. Hast thou truly made a resolution? This Xinjia would rather die than regret. Wuxia said firmly. Very good. This one came this time simply to give thou a warning. This one naturally will not meddle in the star duels. Su Xing, thou certainly must know what the outcome of persisting obstinately in the wrong ways is. Chao Gai gazed at Su Xing. In spite of whatever outcome, bring it on. Su Xing coldly said. The pagoda shifting heavenly king's eyelids rose, as if she was thinking of something. She hooked on a cold smile. In an instant, a divine power pressured from above, pressuring that Su Xing was unable to breathe. This divine might was more and more fierce without pause. In that instant, Su Xing's mind was just a blank space. Su Xing thought, this is bad, operating the absolute sincerity soul technique in an all-out effort to stop it. His divine intent made an unprecedented expansion at this moment, brushing away this divine might as if it had substance. It was nearly a moment that Su Xing then felt that the weight on his shoulders lessened considerably, but his body was truly shocked into a cold sweat. This Chao Gai had quite the powerful imposing air. Since thou hast already decided, this one also has nothing to say. Chao Gai smiled. This one naturally accepts orders to guard the star duels. And this one also gives thou a warning. If thou contracts one more star, this one shall confer unto thee one calamity. If thou can avert this calamity, this one will not obstruct you. How is that? It can do. Su Xing sneered. Chao Gai did not mind. On the contrary, her smile was somewhat profound. If thou can avoid calamity, that can be considered proof of fate. That just now was the first calamity. Currently, there are still 3 more calamities, and now, this one shall give thee the second calamity. She pointed, and an aura was absorbed into Su Xing's forehead. Immediately, it was eliminated. Su Xing then felt his mind contained a deeply rooted seed. This is known as the meditative mind lotus seed. 3. So long as thou can let this lotus bloom, then thou will have passed the second calamity. If otherwise, in the case this lotus seed wilts, this one shall send one of the sisters into Maiden Mountain. Chao Gai smiled. Thus this is the second calamity. The faces of all the girls changed, and they nearly were about to hurl abuses. Chao Gai said, Thou still hast time to ponder. After evil smiting Hall passes, if a star general reaches completion by obtaining a star beast, then there will be no margin for redemption. Even if thou can pass these calamities, Maiden Mountain possesses a test waiting for thou. Thou had best quickly annul the contracts and return the star duels to the proper path. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earthweir. I, Su Xing, am of indomitable spirit and naturally unafraid. Big words are merely for this time. When the time comes, the opportunity Maiden Mountain gives thee certainly will be greater than this one's by 100-fold. Chao Gai smiled. The heaven-earth dark yellow 1,000 pagoda was retracted. Light rays were immediately released, and soon after, her silhouette disappeared. To freely come and go inside this void immortal's abode was truly imposing. The moment she left, the inside of the void immortal's abode fell silent. Xinjie presumed that Maiden Mountain would have movements, but Xinjie did not expect it to be this shameless. Wu Xinjie gnashed her teeth. Sister Xinjie, just what is the background of this Maiden Mountain, do you know? Shi Yuan asked. A flock of people set on high. Wu Xiyo sneered. Watching the way Chao Gai went about things, she regarded the commoners of Liangshan as bugs. It could be assumed those higher were even more unbearable. Perhaps it truly is that legendary star unicorn world. And Suwen sighed. Gong Sun Huang sat on Su Xing's shoulder, watching him. Those clean pupils were written full of concern. Young lord, is there anything uncomfortable right now? They recalled the meditative mind lotus seed, second calamity Chao Gai left behind, worriedly asking. Su Xing could use his divine intent to sense that a seed had already been added into his ocean of consciousness. This seed floating above the ocean of consciousness did not have too many peculiarities. Su Xing tested using divine intent to grow it. The seed in his mind actually was moved, but it merely swayed a few times without any effect. Apparently, it required very powerful divine intent, or some other methods to make the seed bloom. This meditative mind lotus flower is Buddhism's supreme secret treasure. Chao Gai testing young lord like this is somewhat strange. Wu Xinjie muttered to herself. She had heard a few rumors of the meditative mind lotus flower. Many Buddhist cultivators practiced meditative mind to a paramount realm, and could bloom a golden lotus. The powers of those Buddhas, Arhats and Vajras could be promoted several realms. Since ancient times, those that could blossom a meditative mind lotus flower were all Buddha-like characters. To have Su Xing, who was a layman of the Buddhist path, go bloom this meditative mind lotus flower, and in such a short time, simply was an impossible affair. Then what do we do? All of the girls looked at each other in dismay. Xinjie does not understand very much about the meditative mind lotus flower. Perhaps we only can go on a trip to the Buddha kingdom. We can only do so. Su Xing nodded. Just now, Chao Gai said that even if he passes through this calamity, after the evil smiting hall, Maiden Mountain would not be unconcerned with Su Xing contracting this many sisters. Have you all clearly thought of the consequences? Once Wu Xiyo finished asking, she felt she had done more than what was required. To be honest, to be able to sign a contract, how would any of them not be a life and death promise? However, it appears we cannot be too worried about evil smiting hall right now. Wu Xinjie muttered. The current Maiden Mountain already was Su Xing's greatest foe. If things truly would be as Chao Gai said, by the time the third phase evil smiting hall concluded, that time would truly be dangerous. Right, young lord, Look at what we brought back from Greencorn Mountain for young lord. Wu Xinjie abruptly remembered something. Giggling, she gestured with a hand. A stalk of glistening jade green bamboo the width of a bowl appeared. This bamboo emitted a peaceful, sweet scent, and had evil-suppressing cloud marks. Evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Su Xing said in pleasant surprise. How did you find it? It was all due to Yuan. Her vision was vicious, being able to discover just this one among several million in a sea of bamboo. Lin Mei said. Yuan are amazing. Su Xing gave her a thumbs up. He actually passed Greencorn Mountain, and had been shaken by that sea of multitudinous bamboo. The peace and happiness bamboo's song was handsome, disturbing his mind. To find one stalk of evil-suppressing gem bamboo by accident was finding a needle in a haystack. We were luckier, it being unexpectedly still left there. Sure, Yuan stuck out her tongue. As the thief star, her eyes naturally were keener. To conceal the suppressing evil gem bamboo's suppressing evil golden marks from her eyes still was not too possible. Pity is only this one stalk. It was unknown how many cultivators wanting to get rich quick explored Greencorn Mountain's grounds long ago. To be able to find one stalk was counted as lucky. Su Xing felt the bamboo. This suppressing evil gem bamboo was approximately more than 1,000 years in age. Using it to forge the heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements swordswood element sword already was considerably suitable. The sole regret was that this stalk of suppressing evil gem bamboo probably could only forge approximately 5 or 6 of the flying swords. However, Su Xing's metal element swords sustained great damage to their spiritual powers at 5 Poison Mountain, and required a period of nurturing. With the suppressing evil gem bamboo, that actually could solve the desperate situation. It seems we can only go to Heavenly Gem Valley for another stalk. Wu Xinjie muttered. Originally, she did not plan to go to Heavenly Gem Valley because that place had a great sect hidden from the world, highly dangerous, and now with Maiden Mountain already coming to their door, this was an extreme emergency. Hesitation was intolerable. Su Xing deeply held the same feelings. To contend against that Maiden Mountain, his current sole possibility outside of having Lin Mei and the rest upgrade their star weapons was to forge the immemorial sword chant as soon as possible. Confronting Chao Gai at that time, they stood a chance of having battle. Right, I have something too. What do you feel we can do? Su Xing hesitated, then released a black light. An ugly and malevolent monster whose whole body was completely clad in black chi appeared in the immortal's abode. Upon seeing it, the beauties all withdrew several steps, revealing expressions of revulsion. It was the 10,000-year Gu demon. Hearing Ensuan's introduction, Wu Xinjie wrinkled her brow. The 10,000-year Gu demon. Unexpectedly, it was this sort of fiendish creature. The 10,000-year Gu originally was a unique fearful creature, and this 10,000-year Gu demon was even more disastrous. Collecting 100 Gu and 10,000 poisons into a body, it could be said to be the poison of the world. What was different from a 10,000-year Gu was that this type of Gu demon could grow. It was just that the 10,000-year Gu demon's growth condition was very hair-raising, devouring living souls and essence blood. Hearing this condition, Su Xing had the mind to destroy it. To have him use living people as living souls to feed the Gu demon was something he absolutely could not possibly do. Even if he could go do so, perhaps given Lin Mei's personality, she would be disgusted by it. Apparently, I stole something useless. Su Xing was speechless. This actually is not necessarily true. Ensuan softly said. We can still use every sort of poison grass and poison stone. It can also grow if we feed it unique treasures. Suan knows a few things this 10,000-year Gu demon can eat. This finally let Su Xing have slight comfort. This isn't bad as this young lady actually cannot refine it into a puppet hee. Sure, Yuan giggled. Her MO attack mechanism records already had great success. Transforming this sort of demon beast into a puppet was not difficult. A puppet is somewhat wasteful. Wu Xinjie said. Afterward they discussed some things. The important point was to help advance Lin Mei and Yan Yizhen's star weapons to 3-star. And there also the far west Buddha kingdom to see whether or not they could find something to help Su Xing bloom the Diana Mind Lotus flower. Seeing them so intimate, Wuxia felt herself an outsider. Then what time do you plan to go to Evil Smiting Hall? After a month. There is not enough to forge the wood element flying sword, and to go to the Buddha kingdom. Wuxia said. Meet at the Purple Star Immortal's abode after 2 months. And your servant still has other matters. We shall talk more at that time. Wuxia profoundly glanced at Su Xing. At that time, your servant certainly does not want to see a sister absent from Su Xing's side. How could I? Su Xing laughed aloud. There will only be more, never less. Wu Xingjia's teasing words made the beauties knowingly smile. When Wuxia was about to leave the immortal's abode, Su Xing suddenly remembered something and chased after her. Wifey, wait. And Wuxia sat upon the white and black unicorn tiger, turning her head. You hold on to this. Su Xing took out a multicolored sparkling mirror. This is the shifting light mirror? You did not return this to Holy Mother Qixia? Wuxia furrowed her brow. And she gave it to us as a gift. Su Xing said. If you ever miss me, haha, or if something happens, just take out this mirror then. This mirror is useless in your servant's hands. Wuxia shook her head. Just take it, think of it as a memento. Su Xing would not allow her to decline. Wuxia hesitated a bit. She nodded, then accepted it. You be careful yourself. Maiden Mountain's newcomer is not to be disregarded. However, you contracted this many sisters, so it is no wonder Maiden Mountain would make a big fuss. Wuxia curled the corner of her mouth. Many thanks for wifey's concern. Su Xing chuckled. Wuxia's brows knit together. She suddenly discovered a very problem. When did this man call her this smoothly? You had best fend for yourself. Xio, when can you call out Lord Husband again? Even hubby will do. Su Xing was boundlessly regretful. Su Xing, do you want your servant to kill you that much? Wuxia grit her silvery teeth. Calling this man Lord Husband probably the stupidest thing she had ever done. Husband for a day, a husband for life. Wifey, you say if this is true or not. Wuxia grunted, speedily escaping away on the white and black unicorn tiger with a pat. Su Xing smiled, actually somewhat hating to part with her. Shaking his head, he returned to the immortal's abode. Su Xing exchanged some words with all of the girls, and afterwards he returned to the bamboo house to find Tang Lianxin to refine the suppressing evil gem bamboo. Inside the bamboo house, Su Xing searched for a long time, and did not see Tang Lianxin's figure, which made him somewhat puzzled. Ordinarily, Tang Lianxin delved into the arts of tool refinement, but she never left more than half a step. Just as he thought this, a white light came from the sky. Su Xing stared and saw it was Zhu Yueka and Tang Lianxin. Tang Lianxin wore a palace dress, had her hair stuck into a cloud bun, changing into a young girl's adornments. This made Su Xing somewhat astonished. He did not dare be neglectful as he advanced upwards. Su Xing, where did you go these past few days? Zhu Yueka's tone was somewhat severe. Disciple currently was in seclusion for tool refinement. What instruction does master have? Su Xing asked. When the majority of Four Styles school disciples reached a certain realm, they would all enter seclusion to feel about tool refinement. This was not odd at all. Zhu Yueka nodded. Not bad, it seems your progress is very great. Master, this is... Su Xing looked at Tang Lianxin showing confusion. Zhu Yueka smiled. Your senior brother? Or senior sister, I should say, Tang Lianxin. Su Xing feigned shock, and afterwards showed embarrassment. Then has your servant not slept together with senior sister for a very long time? Tang Lianxin's brows drew together several times with difficulty. Zhu Yueka fake coughed. Enter the house, then talk. The bamboo house, a wisp of tea's fragrance. Zhu Yueka first inquired Su Xing's most recent progress in tool refinement, and was pleasantly surprised to find out Su Xing already was about to refine the heavenly water heart flame to the transforming realm. Su Xing, Master wants to ask you a question. Master, please speak. You must know of the star duels? When she asked this, Su Xing's eyes flashed a trace of astonishment as he glanced at Tang Lianxin. Although Tang Lianxin was still that aloof, she nevertheless showed a bit of self-remorse. Su Xing immediately realized what had happened. Who in Liangshan does not know of the star duels? Not bad. The star duels have 108 star generals of heavenly spirits and earthly fiends. As long as one signs a star duel covenant with a star general, they then become a star master participating in the star duels. Not only can they share in the star general's capabilities and skills, in the star duels, the victor can even receive one wish. Ever since the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace, 2 turned out a star duel overlord, each of the Azure Dragon territories' great sects perhaps eyed this covetously. One hand, they wished to rely on star cultivators to ascend Maiden Mountain and search for the path to longevity, and on the other, they want to embody strength. Zhu Yueka slowly said. Su Xing was silent. The Purple Firmament Immortal Palace was one of the Azure Dragon territories' 3 palaces. After once turning out an overlord of the star duels, they then no longer published anything. In addition, the Azure Dragon territory regarded the Purple Firmament Immortal Palace as a legendary existence, their reputation somewhat even more formidable than the Most High Path. In next year's Alliance of 10 army, the majority of people in the Azure Dragon territory believed this Purple Firmament Immortal Palace could become one of the 2 halls. Even replacing the Most High Path and becoming the Azure Dragon territory's Purple Firmament Immortal Path was also not impossible. Actually, this school also wishes to nurture a star master, but no star general took this school to her fancy. Su Xing, do you wish to become a star master? Zhu Yueka asked. Su Xing foresaw she would ask this, but a star general? Heh, your senior sister happens to be the star general solitary star gold coin spotted leopard Tang Long. Zhu Yueka looked at Tang Lianxin and proudly said. Thinking of this, it was obvious. To have a top-notch tool refinement star general learn under her tutelage, it simply would not do for her to not be proud. If she also knew Su Xing was the first star master in 1,000 years to contract multiple star generals, perhaps she would go crazy. Su Xing feigned amazement. How is it? The solitary star has now already promised to choose a contractor from this school to sign a star duel covenant. Master feels your wits are pretty good, that you are certain to be able to fight in these star duels. Of course, this school up and down will lend you a helping hand. Although we are in a decline, the 4 Styles School was previously a 9 Dragons great sect, after all. Participating in the star duels, we would not be that far off from those sections. Can disciple chat with senior sister Lianxin? Su Xing asked. It would be good for you to chat. Zhu Yueka nodded. Afterwards give master a choice. The other 4 peaks certainly have the ambition to seize your senior sister, Su Xing invited Tang Lianxin to a corner, a question flashing through his eyes. Sorry, big brother, they discovered Lianxin. Tang Lianxin apologetically replied. Originally, ever since she recognized Su Xing as her big brother, Tang Lianxin was increasingly somewhat feminine, and finally, the indication had been discovered by someone. Afterwards, Zhu Yueka verified this and realized Tang Lianxin was a woman dressed as a man. Originally, women dressed as men was nothing to fuss over, but what was shocking was that Tang Lianxin's tool refinement achievements were too talented. Thinking further, Tang Lianxin's identity was then exposed. This exposing could be said to have alarmed the entire 4 Styles School. Finally, under patient persuasion, Tang Lianxin perhaps had some sentiment after staying several years at the 4 Styles School. Carrying a voluntary attitude towards the star duels, she agreed to become the star general of the 4 Styles School. However, she had a precondition, that they must achieve her request. Su Xing was furious. Unexpectedly, some people had designs on his little sister. Truly, if he tolerated this, what would he not tolerate? Master, do not forget about Chao Gai. Yan Yizhen reminded him from inside the star nest. Su Xing very quickly calmed down. That 1000 Buddha star Chao Gai had put down grand words. That if Su Xing contracted another star, she would confer upon him a calamity. The current second calamity meditative mind lotus seed would then be complicated. What is there to be afraid of? If she wants to do something, then I'll keep her company. If I'm afraid of just this, then I cannot call myself your man. Su Xing's reply was biting cold. Yen Yizhen made a rare smile, seemingly tacitly agreeing. And solitary star Tang Lianxin looked somewhat confused at Su Xing staring blankly. Cough. Su Xing dry coughed. Is little sister Lianxin willing to be together with me? But it will be very dangerous. From Tang Lianxin's perspective, things like danger would be like floating clouds that could be overlooked. Tang Lianxin affirmed, not at all opposed. But Lianxin and Master, isn't this a trial? Watch Big Brother honorably marry you back, that's even better. Su Xing laughed aloud. Tang Lianxin somewhat perspired. Disciple, have you finished speaking? Zhu Yueka smiled with squinted eyes as she looked at Su Xing. She believed Su Xing would not decline the good opportunity of becoming a star master. Although the star duels were very dangerous, matters like signing a contract with a star general were chance, not requested. Yes, but disciple wonders what trial is required. Lianxin's condition is to be able to pass the 4 styles solitary path, and this is also precisely the trial previous disciples of this school have gone through. Zhu Yueka slowly said, 4 styles solitary path? This was actually the first time Su Xing heard of it. The 4 styles school had the 4 spirit peaks, heavenly fire, 2 water moon, wind violent, and thunder roll. Each peak had a spirit revolving around that could be rated as a unique spectacle. This 4 styles solitary path was beneath the 4 spirit peaks, an immemorial ley line possessing the same 4 scenes. The environment was considerably nasty, extremely dangerous. Those able to tread past the 4 styles solitary road were of outstanding skill, possessing excellent comprehension of the 4 spirits. But it was a pity the 4 styles school was in decline. This 4 styles solitary path was very rarely experienced. Tang Lianxin's condition actually made the 4 styles school up and down reignite its passion. Su Xing listened. So it turned out to be only walking a 4 styles path. He was very curious and naturally would not decline. Zhu Yueka gave Su Xing an Arctic star pendant. 3. This treasure could resist extreme cold, and was a top earthly fiend astral treasure. This treasure will be lent for your use. If you can sign a contract with your senior sister, then Master shall gift it to you. Su Xing naturally thanked her. As for the 4 styles solitary path, he actually did not put it in his eyes. Thereafter, Zhu Yueka explained the time of the trial was half a month afterwards. In the interim, Tang Lianxin would follow Zhu Yueka left and right, on one hand dispelling the covetous intentions of other people, and on the other to seize the chance to seek advice on the ways of tool refinement from the earthly star. Su Xing was helpless and could only temporarily set aside the idea of forging the wood element sword. He returned to the immortal's abode, and discussed the matter of Tang Lianxin with the beauties. Although contracting a star would have a calamity, they did not mind. Wu Xinjie even made a grand speech that he might as well contract all sisters that resisted Maiden Mountain, which made Su Xing blush in shame. Half a month's time was not too long, not too short. Su Xing took advantage of this time, and did not want to be idle, deciding to first go on a trip to Heavenly Gem Valley to bring the remaining stock of suppressing evil gem bamboo to his hands. At that time, refining the wood element sword together would count as satisfactory. The Azure Dragon Territory's southwest area had a lonely valley, surrounded in green mist year-round. This valley's name was Heavenly Gem. It was a rarely seen spirit valley rich in spiritual influences. Even compared to the most high path's 3 clarities field, they were about the same, and it was the Azure Dragon Territory's sole place where people knew there was still suppressing evil gem bamboo. However, such a precious land actually never had people dare explore it. The reason was because of this Heavenly Gem Valley's gem, an evil leisurer. Inside the Azure Dragon Territory, average scattered star cultivators mostly would not have heard of the name of the gem demonic scatterer. However, to those founder-level cultivators of the 10 great sects, this figure was known to everybody. Furthermore, they were somewhat afraid. Gem and evil leisurer's cultivation was supercluster late stage, with a peerlessly excellent 180 heaven and earth evil suppressing sword chant, a power that shook all places. In addition, Heavenly Gem Valley also had several 100,000 Heavenly Gem Divine Bamboo forming a evil-suppressing great array. Even Super Void cultivators did not dare to easily charge into Heavenly Gem Valley. On this day, in the skies above Heavenly Gem Valley nevertheless came an uninvited guest. A burst of divine light flashed, and a swathe of red flame fast as lightning stopped in the air above Heavenly Gem Valley. This red flame dispersed, revealing a fire beacon chariot, with a man and 4 women aboard. The man showed an attractive appearance, an extraordinary temperament. His eyes carried an astute expression. The 4 beautiful women each had touching good looks. This man and 4 women without doubt were Su Xing, Lining Mei, Wu Xinjie, Shi Yuan and Ensuan, besides the Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang self-cultivating in the star nest. Su Xing looked the place up and down and saw the green fog was impenetrable. This is Heavenly Gem Valley. Truly it is somewhat mysterious. Certainly we must be careful, young lord. That gem and evil leisurer relies on the paradise of Heavenly Gem Valley to maintain good health. He is very long-lived. 10 years before, he had supercluster late-stage cultivation. Now Xinjie wonders whether or not he has attained supervoid cultivation. Before this trip, Wu Xinjie somewhat understood Heavenly Gem Valley. Heavenly Gem Valley had a reclusive great sect, the Heavenly Gem Valley sect. Once classified as an ancient 9 dragons great sect, it had the title Jade Dragon. It was a pity that it fell into decline later, for the Heavenly Gem Valley sect was not that self-sufficient like the Four Styles school. Afterwards, the school fell 1,000 zhang for this reason, but the surviving people still could not be ignored. Su Xing nodded. However, will he give the evil-suppressing gem bamboo to us? And Suan was not without worry. Of course not. Su Xing smiled. The evil-suppressing gem bamboo was Liangshan's unique spirit bamboo, practically extinct. Even supervoid cultivators could not request for this kind of spirit bamboo. It seemed that Heavenly Gem Leisurer also would not be easy to speak to. Are we stealing it? Lining Mei asked. Let's see if we can negotiate first. Su Xing looked pensively. Little sister Yuaner, at that time, we will rely on the best thief under heaven. Wu Xinjie covered her mouth and giggled. Just rap it on this young lady's person. Shi Yuan patted her chest. Most recently, she had comprehended her dark rank move, wind chasing shadow hiding, 5, and wanted to test it. Shi Yuan flashed and entered the star nest. Su Xing at this time left the fire beacon chariot. His foot stepped onto green clouds and floated in midair, just like the legendary supervoid cultivators. Once Su Xing contracted Gong Sun Huang, he possessed her innate skill, wandering the clear skies. For this reason he could hover without flying swords. Then he brought out the miraculous Bodhi tree, and afterwards flipped his hand to take out a immortal water pill dew. 6. This was a pill that Ensuan refined after relying on the 1,000 Bells Immortals, due for research. Its efficacy was the same as the 1,000 Bells Immortals dew, capable of instantly replenishing the star energy of galaxy stage. After 5 Poisons Mountain, Su Xing's more than 100 flowers of 1,000 Bells Immortals dew was left with not even more than 20, and he 20 Immortals dews. Ensuan proved herself the efficacious star, just relying on the remaining more than 10 flowers to refine nearly 200 of the immortal water pill dews. It was just that these immortal water pill dews had a flaw, which was that the star energy that was instantly replenished could only persist a very short time before automatically dispersing. However, as far as the Su Xing who completely wasted his star energy every time was concerned, this actually was not a big deal. Shaking the miraculous Bodhi tree twice, Su Xing's star energy was empty. Without delay, he ate other star energy replenishment pills. Afterwards, he saw a clear drizzle of divine light sprinkle downwards. Like a cool breeze through the forest, the dense fog was immediately blown apart. Su Xing stored the miraculous Bodhi tree, and pretended to be an adept, not speaking. A moment later, a world-shaking explosion erupted. The originally tranquil green fog surged violently. Then 2 approximately a zhang thick pillars of wind soared into the sky from the sea of fog, wildly spinning in havoc. The nearby sea of fog instantly was cleared in an area of 100 zhang, like an evil dragon emerging from the sea. Practically the instant the pillars of wind appeared, several hisses of varying lengths suddenly came from below. The hisses brimmed with a startled yet furious intent. The green mist dispersed, and a massive and peaceful valley was faintly discernible before Sushing. And at this time, several rays of lights, each a different color, shot out of the light barrier, aggressively going straight for the place Sushing was at. Although Heavenly Gem Valley was in decline, the valley interior still had many cultivators seclude themselves here. However, their cultivations were more or less galaxy stage. What advice has Sire called on Heavenly Gem Valley for? These cultivators originally had come wanting to hold the perpetrator accountable, but upon seeing Sushing unexpectedly float without a sword, each and every one of them was immediately frightened stiff and were respectful. In their eyes, Sushing simply was unmistakably a supervoid cultivator. Is the Heavenly Gem Leisurer present? Your servant is Yun Yuzi, also a scattered cultivator. Having heard Heavenly Gem Valley's reputation, your servant has come to pay a visit. Sushing's expression did not change. Having fought against supercluster cultivators several times, it was just like he had a great cultivator's imposing air. We ask that Senior Yin wait a moment. An old man did not dare be neglectful. Sushing nodded. Again a little later, a clear voice like thunder rolled over. Gem and evil has propriety. Before the person arrived, his voice came first. A green shadow dazzled. A hale and hearty and healthy old man appeared in front of Sushing, Senior Gem and Evil. The scattered cultivators of Heavenly Gem Valley deferentially bowed their heads. Sushing slightly narrowed his eyes. There was a magnificent light, and Sushing breathed a sigh of relief when he discerned that his cultivation was supercluster late stage. If he truly was supervoid stage, that would not be easy to handle. Gem and Evil Leisurer looked at Sushing, a trace of amazement flashing through his eyes. He saw Sushing's appearance was in his 20s, but had unexpectedly reached the one with the world of supervoid stage. This honestly was hard to believe. When did the Azure Dragon territory turn out such a freak? He recalled that he basically could not use common sense on supervoid cultivators, so Gem and Evil Leisurer did not dwell too much upon this. As for Sushing leaking galaxy early stage cultivation, he felt this was only the counterpart meticulously suppressing his figure. What are you all doing distracted? Why do you not hurry and invite Senior Yin into the valley? Gem and Evil Leisurer slightly smiled. Sushing glanced at Lining Mei and the others, then followed Gem and Evil Leisurer into the valley. Heavenly Gem Valley was not at all as verdant and lush as he had imagined. Sushing saw a wide stretch of Heaven Gem bamboo had fallen into a disordered heap, like it had been uprooted by a storm. It looked somewhat tragic. More than 100 cultivators currently were nervously busy with magic circles and such. Has your valley recently run into some trouble? Your servant shall not hide from Senior Yin. Just call me fellow. Seeing an old man call him senior, Sushing felt it was rather bizarre. Alright, fellow Yin is somewhat unaware, but a few days ago, some Black Turtle Territory evildoers doggedly crashed their way through Heavenly Gem Valley's evil-suppressing Great Array. We traded blows several times that things would become like this. Gem and Evil Leisurer replied. It seems your valley has trouble. Sushing said. It is not worth mentioning. Gem and Evil Leisurer seemed to be accustomed, and neither did Sushing say anything more. Passing the outside of numerous Heavenly Gem bamboo, a small mountain several thousand zhang tall appeared in front of them, and here at the center of this mountain, numerous pavilions and platforms of varying sizes were constructed everywhere. There were even some cultivators entering and leaving without stop upon them. It seemed that the activity attracted a few days ago actually was not that nondescript. Heavenly Gem Palace has long not had a supervoid cultivator honor it with his presence. Fellow, please. Heavenly Gem Leisurer invited. Please. Sushing nodded and said. On a hill 100 li outside of Heavenly Gem Valley. At this moment, 100 men and women wearing black robes were gathered. These men and women wore their clothes upright, but their foreheads nevertheless betrayed their malice. If Sushing was present, he would instantly recognize one man among them draped in black armor and a cloak. He was the one that fought once before at the Bo-Si, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon beaten into a retreat by Wuxia. The 2-star generals of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, River Dragon Li Xiangfei and Demon King of Chaos Fan Ming were each on his left and right, their expressions somewhat grim. Not long after, a cloud of smoke floated from the sky. The expression of the men and women on the hill each became deferential upon seeing the smoke, and the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon bowed his head and stepped forward. The smoke fell onto the hill, transforming into several silhouettes. Paying respects to ancestral master Yin Luo. This old man's skin was pale, his eyes hollow, appearing to have evil intent. His shriveled and thin hands were spread full of black lean muscles, and his supercluster late-stage cultivation made the hill as if it had been pressured. This man was ancestral master Yin Luo, one of the ancestors of the heavenly underworld sect. Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, you truly are trash. Last time, when I heard you had run back from the Azure Dragon territory with your tail between your legs, I actually dared not believe it. Apparently, indeed it was so. A youth appearing 17 or 18 years old stepped out from behind ancestral master Yin Luo. Seeing him, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's face immediately changed, appearing unreconciled. This youth had red lips and white teeth, appearing elegant. Every movement had a graceful air, but those eyes were a frightening black, as if they could absorb everything. The always arrogant and unruly Holy Lord of Draconic Demon showed a fearful and unreconciled expression upon seeing him. Why have you come? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon looked towards Ancestral Master Yin Luo. Ancestral Master Yin Luo snorted. I heard you requested the sect head for help. As it so happened, Great Saint Starkiller was also present, so he came for a look. The corner of Great Saint Starkiller's lips hung a harmless smile, making him seem very friendly to people, but the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes were even deeper. Do not mind me. I only came to see the joke that is you and shall not assist you. Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming immediately drew their weapons, assuming an attack stance. Great Saint Starkiller was unconcerned, just looking mockingly at the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon like this, as if he was for them to attack at any time. However, in the end, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon nevertheless smiled gloomily, blocking the indignation of the two star generals. This Great Saint Starkiller was the Star Master of the Devil Star Palace. They absolutely could not afford to offend him. Furthermore, the demonic art this Great Saint Starkiller practiced was unprecedented, and he did not even have the self-confidence for the two-star generals. When the time comes to ascend Maiden Mountain, then this Holy Lord will show you. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon thought to himself. Suddenly, a chilly gaze shot into the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's heart, as if it wanted to pierce him through. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was startled. Raising his head to look, he found Great Saint Starkiller was currently seemingly smiling yet not at him. Apparently, Great Saint Starkiller had seen through the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's thoughts, his smile making the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon terrified. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon forced a smile. Heard the Devil Star Palace bestowed upon you a ranked 3rd prehistoric spirit treasure Everlasting Bell. Truly that is enviable. The overlord of the Star Duels this time naturally came from the Devil Star Palace. What does an insignificant prehistoric spirit treasure count as? I still have a purple star-grade astral treasure. Would the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon like to test it out? Great Saint Starkiller smiled. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was unsightly. Ancestor Yin Luo's eyes also had that envy when he heard that boundless bell, too of Great Saint Starkiller. Thinking to himself that the Universal Lord Devil Star was lavish as expected, unexpectedly presenting even the 3rd-ranked prehistoric spirit treasure Boundless Bell to his disciple for use in the Star Duels. Across all of Liangshan continent, what sect would dare be so extravagant? Perhaps only this action was uncharacteristic, for the omnipotent Devil Palace would be so generous. Although the heavenly underworld sect master also gifted a prehistoric spirit treasure to the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, it was somewhat unpresentable in comparison. If we were to slaughter and loot this Great Saint Starkiller right now, we definitely could move about unhindered. Ancestral Master Yin Luo thought, however, he only dared to think. Even with his supercluster late-stage cultivation, he was somewhat fearful of this person. Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, just what the hell happened? Ancestral Master Yin Luo asked. This time, The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon had followed the orders of the Heavenly Underworld Sect Master to go to Heavenly Gem Valley to obtain evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Evil-suppressing gem bamboo possessed the ability to suppress evil and to pacify, which was a hidden great danger for Black Turtle Demon sects. Besides obtaining the evil-suppressing gem bamboo, inside this Heavenly Gem Valley also was a Star Master he was to kill at the same time. Heavenly Gem Valley had an evil-suppressing great array, but the Heavenly Underworld sect sent the 44 United Demons, 3, to assist the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Breaking the array was not a problem, and even in facing that gem and evil leisurer, they still had a supercluster middle-stage ancestor. That Heavenly Gem Valley was too powerful. Elder Chang Chiu perished under the opponent's Heaven and Earth evil-suppressing sword array. Although the evil-suppressing Great Array 5 has been broken, Disciple honestly was powerless and had no alternative but to request the sect master for assistance. What? Even Elder Chang Chiu was not a match? Ancestral Master Yin Luo's face sunk. He looked about the hill, and only then noticed that a majority of the 44 United Demons had died. That Heavenly Gem Valley is unexpectedly this formidable? This was beyond Ancestral Master Yin Luo's expectations. Yes, and Gem and Evil Leisurer is an old fart. Heavenly Gem Valley has at least 700 or 800 cultivators. This is actually thorny. Ancestral Master Yin Luo looked to Great Saint Starkiller, deferentially bowing. Your servant wonders whether or not it is possible for the Great Saint to lend a helping hand. Possibly, but I have a condition. I want the evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Great Saint Starkiller leisurely said. Upon hearing him speak, Ancestral Master Yin Luo's face was a bit unsightly. The evil-suppressing gem bamboo was but a 1,000-year spirit bamboo that he was somewhat reluctant to give away. Ancestral Master, I feel we need not yet trouble Great Saint Starkiller. A breakthrough of Heavenly Gem Valley is already imminent, and I believe next time, they will be unable to defend. With Founders Extreme Yin collecting Demon Banner. 6. In addition to my 9 Phantasms 10 Bane's Capital Demon Sword, along with Xiangfei and Ming'er, we definitely can break Heavenly Gem Valley. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons said. Ancestral Master Yin Luo muttered to himself. I am indifferent. However, when later you again make your servant act, I certainly want that Heavenly Gem Valley's things. Great Saint Starkiller chuckled. Unexpectedly, he was somewhat terrifying. How could the Su Xing currently in Heavenly Gem Palace know 2 demons of the Black Turtle territory were eyeing the evil-suppressing gem bamboo? At this very moment, there was the fragrance of bamboo leaf tea, the sound of bamboo in the wind, and a distant tranquility. Truly a good tea. Su Xing praised. Lin Yingmei and the rest also tasted the tea, showing expressions of approval. This soul-calming tea 7 is but Heavenly Gem Valley's specialty, brewed from the spirit leaves of the Heavenly Gem Bamboo. Not only does it stimulate mental acuity, it also can calm and suppress the evils in the heart. Gem and Evil Leisurer said, full of pride. Worthy of being called the legendary Heavenly Gem Valley. Never thought a tiny cup of green tea would have such a mysterious effect. Su Xing smiled. Gem and Evil Leisurer asked. If Fellow is willing, Fellow can have a long stay here. Heavenly Gem Valley is very welcoming of scattered star cultivators like Fellow. Su Xing knew that he felt Su Xing's cultivation was high and wanted only to rope him in. Immediately he deflected. You flatter me, however. Your servant has come for an urgent matter and must earnestly request Leisurer. What in Liangshan would a supervoid cultivator be unable to accomplish? Gem and Evil Leisurer's eyes already were somewhat on guard. Our young master requires use of your valley's evil-suppressing gem bamboo. We wonder what would Senior Gem and Evil need to agree to in exchange. Wu Xinjie smiled and said. Gem and Evil Leisurer did not feel surprised by Wu Xinjie's request. Heavenly Gem Valley's most abundant fame lay in the evil-suppressing gem bamboo. What else would a supervoid cultivator pay a visit for if not for this? In actuality, Su Xing's luck this time was not bad. If it was an exchange before, even if he was a supercluster cultivator, so what? Handling this type of request, Gem and Evil Leisurer would lock the door and refuse to see anyone, without exception. But the previous time, he had encountered a flock of scheming devil cultists. The evil-suppressing Great Array was currently at a feeble time, and he had sustained a bit of injury killing a supercluster middle-stage cultivator. Consequently, he was already frightened stiff when he saw Su Xing use who knew what method to easily break the forbid dance. For this reason did he dare cautiously invite Su Xing in. To be quite honest, this valley indeed has evil-suppressing gem bamboo, but the majority are only in their growth period and absolutely cannot be harvested. In the case they are taken, they will wither and lose the evil-suppressing spirit bamboo's properties. Gem and Evil Leisurer muttered. Saying this, not even one stalk cannot be taken? Su Xing said. Apparently, thinking that Su Xing was somewhat dissatisfied, Gem and Evil Leisurer hastily said, there are still several 100-year stalks. The age of the 100-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo was too low. They could forge the flying swords, but the forged immemorial sword chant would not be top level. The 1,000 years were only good enough, so using 100 years did not have any use. It would be better for us to go see the courtyard your valley planted the evil-suppressing gem bamboo in. It cannot be said for certain that we can find a 1,000-year one. Wu Xinjie said. When the Gem and Evil Leisurer heard this, all of a sudden he recalled something. A 1,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Your servant actually has collected one. Fellow, name a price. Su Xing was delighted. Evil and Gem Leisurer revealed a difficult expression. Since we are scattered stars of the same path, to quote a price is prohibited. This sort of thing, fellow should also know this is priceless. Su Xing nodded. Then what is to be done? Our young lord certainly is in great need. Wu Xinjie twitched her lips, her face nevertheless not showing any surprised expressions. If your servant refuses, several have come from very far, and presumably would be unwilling to return empty-handed. However, the evil-suppressing gem bamboo inherently naturally restrains demonic creatures. It ought to be given to a cultivator of righteousness to use. Hidden here with your servant, it actually is somewhat a reckless waste. However, your servant does not know how fellow's abilities are. If fellow can make your servant won over, this evil-suppressing gem bamboo naturally will be offered. But if fellow is somewhat just passable, then your servant also asks everyone to not be forceful. Evil and Gem Leisurer's eyes spun, and he chuckled. His request sounded reasonable and fair, and Su Xing was incapable of declining. If others spoke these sorts of words, from a supervoid cultivator's perspective, this simply was a farce. However, Gem and Evil Leisurer perhaps still had doubts about Su Xing's cultivation. For this reason would he have this test. Su Xing was not afraid. Relying on the miraculous Bodhi tree that could break 10,000 techniques, he actually was somewhat certain. A moment later, Su Xing then found himself at a place more than 100 zhang in the air above the peak outside the heavenly gem palace. His expression was tranquil, floating motionless, and at a far place several dozen zhang in front of him, Gem and Evil Leisurer stared back at him. Watching Su Xing float in the air without support, his expression was even somewhat grave. Each and every one of Heavenly Gem Valley's 100 cultivators congregated nearby, the eyes of each and every one fixed upon the situation in the air. Su Xing used a high-grade talisman to conceal his cultivation. Everyone was unable to see his depth, only able to feel dumbstruck watching a supervoid cultivator. How could they have thought that Su Xing was only capable of wandering the clear skies by contracting the dragon in the clouds Gongsun Sheng? Just outside Heavenly Gem Palace in a corridor, a red-haired girl currently holding a flaming axe and a youth were practicing drills. She wore a split short skirt, and a little golden bell was fixed upon the skirt's knot. Her tube top was a ladder of blue plates, and her expression was clean. The hatchet she waved stirred up a wind. Abruptly she stopped. Cheer. 8. What is the matter? The young man halted his sword chant and asked. Hey, that supervoid cultivator's harem makes your servant feel very familiar. This cheer girl gazed at Lin Yingmei and the rest, suddenly giggling. It cannot be dash, the youth's mouth hung agape, speaking in disbelief, that you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.